The following program is a collection of stooges talking about happenings in the sports world. It is meant to be comedic informative. The opinions expressed on this show do not necessarily reflect the beliefs of their peers, their boss, or ESPN. There may be some cuss words because that's how humans in the real world talk. If you are young, please seek permission before watching any further.
Hey,
Why?
let's go!
This show stinks, and the fact that you listen, we are very, very thankful for.
The all-time leading tackler for the Green Bay Packers.
You pig!
Damn it! Be a friend, tell a friend something nice could change their life.
Sport!
Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to our humble abode, the Thunderdome. On the summertime's finally here, Thursday, June 20th, 2024. This program starts now.
Summer!
It is here. It is about to be hot as balls throughout the entire country for the next few months because today is the summer solstice. It is the longest day of the year here in Indianapolis. The sun will literally be out until 10:15, 10:30 p.m. You could start a round of golf at 9, or if you're in Indy, you could head to a concert that's happening in lovely Noblesville, Indiana. Now, today's a massive day. We got a lot of sports to talk about, obviously. I took a trip to a swimming pool in a football stadium last night, and I can't wait to talk about it.
Let's go.
There's stuff going on around the NFL. Tom Brady's talking to Colin Cowherd. They need to do a weekly thing during the season, hopefully on Wednesdays. You know, that would help us all out. Every time they talk, something magical comes. There's storylines brewing all over the place. There's contract disputes. There's obviously the NHL playoffs that are still taking place. But today's a big day because it's not just the Talks Table here at Boston Connor and at Ty Schmidt. Hell yeah, USA.
Amen. America Day. Feels like it. Summertime's here.
Yeah, summertime is here. And it's not just because one half of the Hammer Dahn Cowboys, Tone Diggs, is here. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a special treat. And I don't know if there's one human more synonymous with the season that is literally kicking off today than this guy. Ladies and gentlemen, guest hosting in the first hour today, 6-time Grammy nominee, country music icon. Ladies and gentlemen, Kenny Chesney. Come on!
Yeah, get it!
Come on! Yeah!
Yeah! Oh, come on!
Summertime's finally here. Old ballpark man is back in here. On 49. Man, I can see the light.
Coming out of the tunnel, ladies and gentlemen.
School's out.
Come on, Kenny.
Hey.
Oh, that thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Awesome.
Look at that.
I got
How we doing, Kenny?
good dap. Nice clean dap. Nice clean dap. Everybody in the back. Nice clean dap. Kenny, you're a legend.
You know, I was going to bring you this helmet, and then I walked in here, and all I see is helmets.
Yeah, a lot of
There's a lot. Don't
I got a lot of.
And Kenny, like I told you, people just send shit.
Man,
literally-
you got a lot of stuff in here.
Yeah, lots.
You got a lot of stuff.
That's a good way to depict that.
There's a lot of. I mean,
That's
there's a lot of stuff in there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Tons.
Hey, there's, I think a good way to describe our particular business is one that receives a lot of shit on a regular basis. Kenny, thank you for joining us.
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Oh man, thank you for having me.
Okay, so obviously we got a chance to talk to you at the Super Bowl Radio
Yeah.
Row. Now you're in the middle of another summer tour that is like takes over every city you go to. Now this Thursday show that you're doing this at an amphitheater, not at a stadium. Weekend show is always at stadiums. You're alongside Zach Brown, Megan Maroney, Uncle Cracker, I do believe.
Yep.
This Thursday show here you're doing in Indianapolis. Was this like an added-on show? How did
No, we play-
Indianapolis get gifted with this Thursday night?
No, I mean it's by design. We play a Saturday show is a stadium show. So like a Thursday night is like an outdoor amphitheater, and then we have like tonight after the show, like we will fly out and we'll go. I play the Brewers baseball stadium Saturday night.
Damn.
So we'll go up there, have a day off, and do sound check on a Friday, and then we play Saturday night. So it's basically every week of my summer is just like that.
Okay, and you earn that. You know, like obviously it's a lot of travel, a lot of work, a lot of juice, a lot of energy. You got to stay in shape, jacked.
Absolutely.
Kenny Chesney, absolutely jacked in this Thursday. But you are like the voice of the summer. Obviously, Jimmy Buffett in the past has gone and been in the same bucket. Okay, so I assume you guys got along very well because you two are kind of synonymous with the shows in the summertime.
Yeah, we got along. Jimmy and I were really good friends, and he was, you know, like we all have our heroes, you know, that we look up to, you know, and Jimmy was one of the first guys that taught me it was possible to paint pictures with words, if you will. You know, I mean, he was a great songwriter, and when I was a kid, I mean, I would just listen to that music, and it would just take my brain to different places, you know. And he was one of the first guys that told me that taught me that was possible.
Your vibes are very, you know, but there's some deep shit in some of your songs, though. Like Get Along, we're listening to Get Along, and obviously you're telling multiple stories there, but there's like a deep life meaning in that entire thing. How do you balance mixing the, I don't want to say shallow, but you know, flip-flop, yoo-hoo on the floor, and then like, hey, here's a life message.
I can tell you that it's I edit myself to a fault sometimes, though, because sometimes I do want to sing and say certain things that you might not say in a football stadium full of people, you know. So I edit myself, especially in my live show. Like, okay, I'm like next week or wherever it is, like on July, we're talking about it. We play the Chiefs Stadium Arrowhead on July 6th after the 4th, and I'll do certain songs in there that I won't do tonight in Indy because it's just a different audience. It's a different thing, you know. So
but you have such a discography.
True.
I believe is the thing you have.
Well, but you learn. You learn what works and different, and you know you got to learn to read the room.
You never got booed off a stage. I
not booed, but
the crowd's always. We made this graphic here of you know Kenny Chesney football. This is Kenny Chesney football here.
Hell.
The number ones on the side are like 4 albums worth, you know, or 3 albums worth, depending upon the modern album. People are putting out 5-song albums right now, 6-song albums, which I assume you hate and all the old school music people hate. But like the amount of things that you've accomplished, the amount of songs that you have, you could technically, and it's just like Taylor Swift, which I know, obviously massive piece of. Like each show can almost be its own album at this point, and you could just put out number ones live.
Oh wow!
As its own, like there is so many. Hey, way to go! You're done good. You're doing good. But how do you go about piecing together what the set list looks like, and how come nobody plays the banger at the front and at the back?
Please.
Right?
Yes, I mean, it doesn't make any sense. If someone listens to one song 1 billion times, you can play it twice, you know? that is something that never
I used to do that before I had all those songs. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we did that out of necessity. But putting together today's show, you know, we try really hard to give, like,
it's going to be hot as shit, Kenny.
Yeah, I know.
They're saying like 92. At 9, 10 o'clock
You're
at
allowed
night.
to bring water, and they said, though, so we're good.
Yeah, you're allowed to bring 2 bottles of water, which is good. Will you fluctuate the songs due to the heat?
Like I have this. It's just like that, okay? So I can hit my foot on that button, and I can talk to just the band and just the crew.
Ooh.
The audience doesn't hear. You know, I can say, okay, we're gonna skip this song, or we're gonna add this song, or look at the hot girl in the third row. Or, you know what I mean? Like, that's the way it is, you know. So we're just
we have that as well. We have that as well.
So it's just like that. So we will audible, if you will, like in real time. And if it's really hot, like the other night in St. Louis, it was really hot and it was lightning. We had to pause the show for an hour, and then we had to go back out and play. It was really hard, you know. But like tonight, it'll be awesome.
Yeah.
And
indie crowds are always good too. I think. You tell us, but Indiana.
Oh, I've played this place so many times, and then I played the football stadium a couple of times, and then every year's different. So
let's talk about the football stadium.
Okay.
The person that built that, alongside a group of great Colts, introduced Indianapolis to football, and the one with the biggest forehead now has a statue out front, and Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
I know obviously you and Peyton Manning have ties, and you have ties to Tennessee. Tennessee's in the College World Series.
That's right, they are.
Hey, let's go.
Go.
Paying attention. How do we feel about this?
I feel
Rocket
great
talking
about it.
Back into championship conversation.
Yeah, and I don't know that Tennessee's won a championship in any sport in a while. It's been a while.
Yeah.
I know in football they haven't in a long time.
SEC's tough right now.
Tough.
Yeah. How do you feel about the state of college sports? Do you pay attention enough to know? Because there's a lot of Southerns, I will say, that are very pissed. And for good reason, because what college football and college sports is in the South, not just used to be, but in the South, It's like their blood, like this
Way
is
of life.
I don't want to say like a religion because obviously
Right.
God and everything like that, but it is like very different than how it's viewed in a lot of other parts of the country. And I think the
Right.
South is the most pissed potentially about the future of college football more specifically.
Yeah. I'm still going to watch it.
Bingo.
Right?
Me too.
Yeah.
Bingo.
Oh, okay.
Exactly.
I don't care if they're getting paid. I'm glad they're getting paid.
Conference realignment, Texas, Oklahoma.
I don't. Yeah, it seems weird. I don't know. I mean, like, it's just. I don't know. Is it all just going to be the SEC one day? I don't know.
So
Yeah,
allegedly it's
exactly.
going to be now North,
Yeah.
Big Ten,
Yeah, it's just-
and then South,
Yep.
SEC. And I think I think everybody kind of sees it possibly happening, but like the Big 12, obviously fighting like hell for that not to take place.
Right.
And that's West Virginia's obviously conference now running wild through that entire.
I guess I'm still going to watch. I mean, I still love the sport. I mean, I grew up watching college football with my father, and I grew up in Knoxville, so we didn't have a pro allegiance to anything. I mean, if we wanted to watch baseball, we had to go to Atlanta or Cincinnati. You know, and we didn't have a pro football allegiance. You know, it was all Tennessee football. So I'm still going to watch Tennessee play football. I don't care how much it all changes.
Well, you guys down in Tennessee are the most dedicated fans in the entire college football world. Highest price per beer.
Yeah.
Receipts.
Yeah.
Come on.
Just came out.
$13 a beer,
$13
Kenny?
Yeah,
Kenny, what the hell's
kid me.
going on?
Talk to someone, Kenny.
What the hell's going on? The business people down East Tennessee folks
go to
will drink
TC.
beer.
Yeah. They'll pay for it.
It's supply demand right there, my friend.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's a fun place to go watch a football game.
Did you ever play there?
Yes.
How many-
It was the Neyland Stadium in Knoxville was the first stadium show I ever did. It was 2003.
How many people?
Close to, it was 50-something thousand people there.
Did you see what George obviously just saw what George Strait?
It's insane. It was like
101,950, I think, or
yeah, and
905.
he played in the middle. You know, so it's it's unbelievable, really. And I saw pictures of that, and I was like stunned.
So many people.
Yeah, and it's what George has been able to do to sustain. It's really hard, you know. It's really hard, but it just goes to show you how powerful. I mean, music is.
Do you get worried about that?
Do I worry about sustaining it?
Yeah. Because you're selling out a stadium everywhere you go.
I think
And if you want to, if like he was talking about, you were in Boston for the Tom Brady situation, and I guess the last show is normally in Gillette or whatever. for
yeah,
you.
it will be this year too.
Yeah.
We always end in Gillette.
That's, boom. He actually said that.
No
And
Shoes Nation, baby.
Always.
I
Come on now.
understand that you didn't want to like kind of ruin that or whatever, but he was like talking as if you would have just said, "Hey, we're going to have a show in Gillette," like 2 weeks out, you would have filled it up. You're like that everywhere. That has to be an incredible relief or a great feeling. Like, what is that for you as somebody who, look at this, dude, everywhere you
Nuts.
go,
that was
there's
Soldier-
everywhere you go.
That was Soldier Field last week. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's a big deal for your business,
Jack.
obviously.
Oh, of course. I mean, but look, I
People
work-
aren't moving tickets in stadiums. Not a lot of people are
not a
moving
lot. I mean,
stadiums.
there's a few. Yeah, but I can tell you that was built. Like guys, I didn't wake up one day and go, okay, I want to go play Gillette.
Amen.
Yeah.
Like it was built. I mean, it was like I've been doing I went on the road in '93,
How old are you?
56.
You were 56 and
In
93.
93.
Holy
Yeah.
shit.
No, I'm 56 now. I'm doing pretty good, aren't I?
Yeah. Like 20, early 20s, whenever you started hitting the road. Are you playing like dive bars, tiny?
Oh yeah, I was playing anywhere they'd let me play, and I opened for Alabama the first year, the group Alabama.
Oh, yeah.
We know.
And I
In
was
a
like,
hurry.
whoa, this is like, I was a kid and I went with my mom and stepfather to a field in East Tennessee to watch Alabama play. It was like a big festival. And I was like, God, I thought they were the Rolling Stones. You know, it was just like the best thing ever. And then literally 10 years later, I was on the road with those guys. And it was like a strange existence. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you should see how we feel right now. You're basically all of our first concerts.
Yep.
So
Exactly.
that's how we
when,
feel.
So-
when he was with Rascal Flatts, that was my first concert.
Where?
In Pittsburgh.
And you from Boston?
Yeah. Gillette. First one with Eric Church.
You were at the Gillette and with Eric Church.
Yeah, well, my body was there. My brain was asleep.
There's another another question. So we're from Pittsburgh, obviously. So whenever you go to Pittsburgh, it is an event. They try to kick you out of the city.
The holiday.
How
A
many
couple years ago they did.
17, 16 or 17, something like that.
But I mean, they were just having a good time. You know, they should be happy we didn't do 2 nights.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Which is something you could do anywhere.
Well,
and, you go from dive bars in 93 to selling out stadiums.
Man, we were playing everywhere. We would play anywhere they would let us play.
And what are you doing? You doing covers then, or are you doing your own songs?
And I would like you said, like I had a 1-hit record, and sometimes we would we'd play a state fair or a bar or whatever, and I would play my 1-hit record, and then I would.
What was the first one that got you?
The first one was a song called "She's Got It All." That was the first. That was my first #1 record. And
I'm allowed to play your music.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm allowed to
Absolute banger.
My kiss.
That's it. That's an old one. It's an oldie but goodie. Well, I throw that out tonight. Indeed.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Oh my God! Don't even. I hear my voice when I.
I do the same thing.
Oh, God.
I hate me too. You're great, Kenny.
So you can't listen to your own.
I can't even listen.
So when you walked in and it was playing,
Kenny, listen to this. Kenny, banger, dude.
sounds good.
Like when I hear that person, I hadn't figured out yet where my sweet spot was in the studio as far as singing, So a lot of times I would cut songs up here, and I didn't really know that I shouldn't. But I hear that that era of me recording music. When I hear those songs on the radio, I go,
Hold on, though. Listen, without those songs, you obviously don't get to there. So
no, it's true.
Every decision is a stone on the pathway to selling out every stadium.
Okay, I agree. Okay,
which is probably from one of your songs that you sang. I just probably jacked it. But Morgan Wallen had a situation, and I assume you all are close.
I've met Morgan several times. I'm very proud of him.
Stadiums as well. Here we go. And he also has
rocking.
Sick collection of Jays as well, just like.
Oh yeah.
But I think a couple maybe months ago, he signed a deal with some record label in Florida whenever he was young, and they recorded some songs. They never got released or whatever. They didn't agree to have them released, and then he leaves, I think, and then he goes on to be who he is. And then that record label, allegedly, this is just from reading an Instagram post from Morgan Wallen, was then going to try to re-release those songs that he recorded. And he basically alluded to, I hadn't found my sound or who I wanted to be at this point. And he didn't, there's a reason they were released. He was not proud of them. And then they were trying to take advantage of them, that type of thing, is seemingly how I read the entire process. Does it happen often whenever people make it? And, how important is, you're with Warner, and shout out to Anna.
Anna.
Dave.
Go Anna.
Literally 4 minutes before the show starts, I just bombard her. I can play music on here? Okay, sweet, because there's probably, and I told you this before we went on air, there has been a Southern White that has sued me before. And there was a chance a couple of he's really
You want to elaborate?
Kenny, he's very good at football.
He's a good football player.
He can spin. He can really-
1993 when that song came
An
out.
older Packer quarterback.
Yeah, he could really spin it, Kenny. But we thought, there's a chance you could sue us, but then everybody in your team is so incredibly cool. But in the music world, I guess that's potentially possible all the time. Do you leave shit in the, you go in the studio, record something and not release it?
Oh yeah, all the time.
And then who controls that forever? And
Well, I do now, but there was a moment where
congratulations.
Huge.
Yeah, because I own everything now. But back before, when I was a kid,
You own everything right now?
everything.
Wait, you're gonna sell that?
Weapon.
Yeah.
So,
Smart man.
but
Hey, that's genius.
yeah,
That's business genius.
it's called control.
Yeah, it's also called profit.
Dog.
Yeah, there's that.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. Congratulations. That's a big
Thank
deal
you.
in the music world, I think.
Well,
right?
you got to get there. You got to build that too. You just get but before when I first got started, like anybody, you're not in a position to do that. You're just happy to get the opportunity and to move forward and build your audience. So I have so many songs that I've recorded that didn't make the record for whatever reason.
You just didn't like them?
Yeah, just I didn't like them. I didn't like the way I sounded, or it didn't fit, or I had too many ballads, or this sounded too much like this song for whatever reason. And so they just didn't make the record. And if you don't, let's just say that you're on one record label and you don't, they own the masters, and then you move and to a different label, they have the opportunity to really release that stuff all they want.
Yeah, and it's crazy.
It's
crazy
really,
business.
And
It's
Morgan
crazy
to
content
do
business.
everything possible not to let them do that.
Yeah, and I guess the music world's also changing because the payment for songwriters due to digital streaming and everything like that.
yeah.
Because Luke Combs came on,
Yep.
and he talked about he's doing arenas as well.
Yeah,
Hey,
shoot,
way
he's
to
doing
go.
everything. I love Luke.
Yeah.
He's great.
He puts the shit out of those cups too. He's
He's got
from a
touch.
rugby player.
Oh, yeah.
The guy's got real touch. But he talked about how the streaming era of music is obviously different than the album selling era of music, which
Right.
you're obviously a part of in that entire thing. And then Napster comes in, and
Yeah.
what a time that was. Justin Timberlake was doing that. Guy,
He's
I
having
know.
fun.
Oh, man.
I know.
come on, Justin. Yeah, just you got a driver, dude. Get boozed up, Justin. Stay.
Come on.
Whatever the case. Anyway, he said that
Anyway.
the streaming thing. Anyway, the streaming thing. Luke Combs basically said like they're getting it figured out for the artists. Like the artists are getting it figured out, and it'll end up being fair.
That's
but
right.
songwriters somehow it's not really getting figured out.
No, let's
for
just say those three guys wrote. I heard you playing American Kids or something, or Get Along, whatever it was when I came in.
Summertime.
Let's just say
Summer
that
solstice.
they wrote it. Okay.
Congrats,
But
boys. It's
you
smack.
sang-
There we go.
But you sang. You sang the song, and so you're going to get paid. They figured out how to pay the artist, but they just haven't figured out how there's. It's called greed, and they haven't figured out how they're going to share it with the songwriters yet, which is really sucks.
Which a lot of musicians were songwriters, right? So it's like,
Yeah.
and obviously,
I was originally a songwriter. I mean, like I still am, but I got started as a songwriter. But there used to be people in the album selling era of our society that made a very good living off just getting their songs recorded and not necessarily having them on the radio. You know, it's called, there's a performance royalty and a mechanical royalty. Performance royalty is paid on what you hear. Like if your song gets played on the radio over and over again, you get paid a performance royalty for that.
radio still matters for country music.
Very, very much so. Yeah, terrestrial radio still matters, in my opinion. But mechanical royalties are album sales. Like if you wrote a song and that was not on the radio, but it was just on somebody, it was on George Strait's record. And George Strait sold 5 million of those records. You're going to get paid a lot of money just from having that song on there. But see, that model is gone.
Now it's only halfway. Now it's only performance.
So it's only, so for a songwriter, it's really changed.
Well, let's figure it out, Kenny.
I would love to figure it out.
Tone has a question for you, Kenny.
Yeah, Kenny, I mentioned how I saw you with Rascal Flatts, and it was right before they took off. But right now you're touring with Zach Brown.
What do you think that was?
That was 2004. I looked it up.
Still doing it. That's 20 years ago. 2 decades.
nuts.
You look
20 years
younger
ago.
somehow.
Yeah.
But now you're
crazy?
touring with Zach Brown, who is another headliner, and you talked about how Jimmy was your mentor, and I think
Yeah.
the same for Zach. How is it touring with another headliner? Because my friends who were there in Pittsburgh said it was like 6 hours of just incredible music. How does that work out? Is it just
It works out great. You know, Zach toured with us in 2011 also, and then it's crazy to think that here we are 13 years later and still at a place where we, you know, still get to have music in our lives and give music to the world, you know? And so, but Zach, he should get, I mean, he doesn't have to be here, you know, but he agreed to do it, to go out with us. And for the fans, I mean, if you just wrap your brain around all the music that you hear, you know, and Megan's brand new and doing really well. And if it was 2004, we might have had Uncle Cracker out there with us too.
Yeah, I was about to say, he's still.
So he was like, that's right when the sun goes down came out. So he's back out there with us. So it's crazy. Like the amount of music that people get to hear is a good. It is. It's about a 6 hour nonstop of.
Who's the incredibly Tim
McGraw.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, McGraw is very jacked.
So jacked.
Yeah.
Zach's jacked now?
Yeah.
I mean, he might have, and Zach is obviously
Zach's all.
beast.
Yeah.
Sweet tats too. I mean, he's got great hat game too. I mean, he is.
Beard.
Tim McGraw, we've seen what his day looks like. He'll like run the hill at the amphitheater and then he's flipping tires. I think he's swinging. Do you have like a daily routine? Obviously, you just stopped by our show. They thank you.
Yeah, I.
How do you not get boozed up every day?
Yes.
Good question.
Well,
summertime.
now
Because
my
you're
life
bringing a
has
party
changed.
to everybody's life.
Yeah, see, but I can't do that boozed up.
That's Zach told us that too. Zach Brown gave us like a big nobody.
So I used to try to live with the fans and act. I don't know. It was. Our life is much different out here now than it was in 2004.
Yeah.
In 2004, I mean, it was a barrel of fun, right? It was. But there became
Not
this
sustainable.
moment where I had to make a decision. Okay, am I going to do this or am I going to do this. And I got to a point in my life where I couldn't do both. Like this year, we're going to do Gillette. We're going to play 3 nights at Gillette at the end of the year. So there won't be any partying for Kenny to get through 3 nights.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So I have like, if you guys ever come to the show, I got a 2-person sauna and an ice tub outside my bus. So it's changed a lot since 2004.
Well, human knowledge of all that stuff has changed a lot.
Right, exactly. But I haven't had alcohol since January 1st.
Congratulations. Wow. On purpose, obviously. This is
well, when I start to train to go on the road, you know, I'm sitting there, okay, the first week of January, and I'm trying to emotionally and mentally think about what it takes of me to be up there. And I said, okay, I'm not going to drink for a while. I'm going to get really lean, and I measure my food and just get ready cardiovascular-wise. I'm working on it.
Yeah.
But then it just happened. All of a sudden, it's almost July. So I don't know. It's not that I'm quitting. It's just that I realized for me to go up there on stage and do what I do now at this point in my life, I just don't want them to get all of me. I want them to get the best of me.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
And I can't do that hungover.
How about, do you smoke any marijuana?
Never.
Never in your life?
Never. Well, college.
Okay.
But it's not a part of my life. You know?
Yeah, but that weed back then.
I had fun at East Tennessee State. I did. I had a good time.
Yeah, you guys are cutting bushes down outside, smoking it up, rolling it up. That's great to hear about how, like, because you're treating it like a profession now. You know, like that seems to be the difference. I had to do the same thing. I got arrested for public intoxication. Alleged story, definitely drunk in public. And then it kind of just changed my entire viewpoint. Like, hey, you could throw this all away right now, or you can, like, lock in. A lot of people can't make that decision.
Yeah.
So you do not know.
I'm not saying I'm going to, look, I love getting on a boat in the islands too much to not have a cold beer.
No, absolutely. Hey, me too. Yeah.
But,
me too.
But I've decided that when I'm working, that it's just doesn't serve me like it.
Yeah. Ty has a question for you, Kenny.
Yeah, Kenny, I assume it's easier because your catalog is so long and so deep, but when you've been doing this for as long as you have, how do you maintain the competitive stamina of, like, hey, I'm going to have to, like, obviously the set list changes a little bit, but I'm playing a lot of the same songs over and over and over again. Like, how do you still find joy in that when you're doing it so often? And are there certain songs where you're like, hey, never again? Like, I'm never singing
I've
this
gotten there with
song
several
again.
songs. Like, we don't do She Thinks My Tractor's Sexy this year.
But see, Kenny.
So good.
I got
we'll sing it.
So
she thinks my tractor's sexy.
So I did.
You know what it does, Ken? Turns her on.
Okay, so
she's always staring at me.
Maybe we'll do it tonight. But I did. I'm not sure if it was Anderson Cooper's first segment of 60 Minutes ever, but I was one of the first. I did a segment on 60 Minutes on CBS.
Journalist.
So he asked me. He goes, well, here's Anderson from New York, and he goes, tell me about She Thinks My Tractor is Sexy, right? And I'm thinking he does not relate at all, like, but I said I was smart enough to record that song, and I said I was smart enough to never record another one. Because you can get
away with it.
Well, you can get away with it once, but then you can't have everything be that way, right? So, but the answer to your question,
but it is true though. If it runs like a deer, you know what I mean?
No doubt.
Eyes light up.
Yeah,
I'm just telling you, I got so sick of singing it. So I was like, we may throw it out every now and then. So.
Hey, listen, don't let Anderson Cooper or these journalists decide what you're singing out of
that was a long
time.
time ago. I didn't stop singing it because of him. It was just, I remiss, this was 20 years ago, and you can just tell that Anderson didn't really understand it.
Oh, buddy, you should hear what they say about us.
Oh.
Connor's got a question for you.
Yeah, Kenny, it feels like right now there is like this kind of boom in country music from other artists and genres. Like Beyonce came out with an album, and right now, like Post Malone is doing songs with, he did one with Morgan.
Who I think's great.
Doing one with Blake. Like,
why don't you get on? Why don't you do it? You didn't even post, you need to.
Maybe.
But
no, actually, though, like, have other artists reached out from different genres? Like, hey, how do I get into country music?
I mean, I did a song with Dave Matthews several years ago, and I did.
Man, you too, with the amount of money you've made off of tickets.
Holy
shit!
That's one of the best. Like, I don't go see live acts very much because that environment is my life. So when I'm away from that environment, I don't want to go back into that environment to see someone else. But I would go see like that band. I would see Dave Matthews, and I would go see, I don't know, whoever.
Boss.
Yeah. So I would go see Bruce Springsteen every day of the week.
Bingo.
But
you guys that like Bruce Springsteen are really into Bruce Springsteen.
What?
He's the boss.
What do you mean?
Michael Cole has been to 170 shows, maybe. I think 170 shows.
Michael Lombardi, I believe, has been to 100.
And it's. I love the. Hey, listen. I listen to a Boss tune, but the fans
that was
of
one of
his
the
are-
first guys. Like we was talking about Jimmy earlier. Like when I saw Bruce the first time, because growing up in East Tennessee, I didn't understand the genius of Bruce Springsteen because we didn't hear a lot of it, honestly. So I was in college, and I was starting to play bars, and I was for tips, and then I realized how genius he was, and then I went and saw it live, and then I went, oh my God, this is a person that just doesn't give a little bit of himself. I mean, he gives everything, And I was stunned. I went, that is, if I ever get the dude, and I didn't even know then that my life was going to turn out this way, right? That I was going to be doing this for a living.
Yeah.
But there was.
Do you judge your performances whenever you're done?
Voice. Well, if you ever do, you gotta give all you can.
Do you judge yourself afterwards? Like,
Oh God, yeah.
Like you're so mean to yourself. I bet.
Yeah.
Well, the last 2 weeks I've been like, we did the Philadelphia Eagles football stadium 2 weeks ago, and I was so sick that I had no business being up there that sick, but I didn't want to cancel either because it was day of, and people have come, they travel to come see you.
Oh yeah.
And it was hard, man. And after that show, I was really, really hard on myself. And then, the next week we played in St. Louis. I was still sick. And I was really, and at Soldier Field Saturday night, I finally felt better. But yeah, I'm hard. I'm hard on myself. Because if you think about it, I mean, people go through a lot to go to your show. I mean, it's just the parking and the walking in and $13 beers.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money, So when you show up sick, it doesn't, I don't know. It's just hard.
Well, if you mailed it in, people would be pissed off.
Well, that's
showing up sick is not
true. I mean, you could be completely healthy and not care.
Sure.
That's worse.
Yes,
That's much worse.
People respect you for showing up sick and then realizing, like, oh, wow, I had no idea. That was an amazing concert.
Yeah. Well, it was really hard, but I'm really hard on myself.
Yeah, most greats are. Tom Brady actually just gave an answer to Colin Cowherd about like calling people and being like, how do I know if I did good? Because I watch film of myself when I played football and I'll think, that's the worst football player on earth. Why is that guy in there? He said, I assume I'm going to do the same thing for me calling games.
Yeah.
And it's like everybody that is their harshest self-critic is normally the people that can make it. You kind of have to have that filter on yourself. Back to Connor's question, though. Has there been any current reach out from any other? Because you make
not
hits.
Current.
I mean, we just saw if we could put that graphic back up, you make bangers, which I think is at what everybody is trying to do from all these different genres that are getting that many number ones. You would assume that somebody would be like, and how would that work? They'd reach out to Warner and they'd say, hey, I want to work with Kenny.
Maybe, or just me personally or whatever.
So let's say I want to put out a banger, okay, this fall.
Yeah.
Let's say I have a couple songs out. I have a couple songs.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I have,
RIP.
To See It Japan. I mean, that is a whole. We should not get into that right now. but it was a banger.
Just one of the songs.
It was an absolute banger. But let's say somebody who was an actual musician.
Yeah.
They just reach, like Post Malone right now. He's friends with Blake Shelton. He reaches out to Blake Shelton. I want to do a country song. And then they just get together and they start working on it. And then they can just do that. I assume with the business of it all, there's so much more shit to it.
There is, it can be that simple sometimes. Like if it's the label, if it's two different record labels trying to manipulate something to happen, that's always harder. So for me, like I'm not against singing with anybody if the song is there. Like I don't necessarily do duets or collaborations for the sake of doing them. Some people do just so they can get more award nominations and stuff.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? But if the song is really great, then that always helps, And
you and Tequila.
Yeah, well, the thing about You and Tequila was I already had that song recorded, but I didn't know the voice that I wanted to be on it. And because I didn't want it to be just, not that there's anything wrong with it, but I didn't want it to be just a country artist that would be expected, right? So I was listening, I was at my house in the Virgin Islands, and I heard this girl named Grace Potter sing. I was going, wow, she was from New England.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And from Burlington, Vermont. And I heard her sing, and I was like, that's it. That's the voice. So I reached out, and 3 days later, Grace was in Nashville singing on You and Tequila.
That's amazing. We got a banger.
When it happens that way, it's really authentic and really great. But when it's put together, it can sometimes be different.
To pivot away from that to a different conversation, there's a Super Bowl champion music artist sensation now. Her name's Taylor Swift.
Right.
She won a Super Bowl with Kansas City Chiefs.
That's right, she did.
Congrats, her. She was at the party, the ring ceremony, but she had another job, obviously selling out stadiums in Liverpool and everything like that, so she couldn't be there. But obviously, you were a big part of the entire process, and obviously, you've seen her since she was a teenager into what she has become now, which is the most famous human on earth, and able to sell out a stadium.
Easy.
Anywhere she
Multiple.
wants to. She's ending this tour, I guess, in December, but if she wanted to, she could run it for the next 40 years, selling out stadiums everywhere. Other musicians, how do they view Taylor Swift? What is the conversation about her business and everything like that? Is everybody trying to emulate that? Does everybody know that's an anomaly? What is the kind of thought process?
I don't know. I think that it's, for those that know her, like I do, you know that the work that went into it. You know, it's easy to look at it all and go, "Oh wow, this is unbelievable. We're going to emulate this. We're gonna, because we are in an industry of followers. I mean, yeah, it's just the way it is.
Copycat league, brother.
That's right. Yeah, and same, I guess I'd imagine in sports. You know, like they saw Belichick and Brady, they saw how it worked. Oh, we're going to figure out how to try to make that work for us.
Hire people from the organization.
That's right.
Anybody that gets cut from the Patriots got signed to another team within 4 minutes. That's literally how.
So I think that it's hard to emulate it though when you're like, when I was at the thing the other night in Foxborough at the Tom Brady Hall of Fame event, it was really interesting because Belichick was there and he came out and he talked. You know, and I was going, oh wow, this could be interesting to see what happens. You know, but it was. They were talking about the amount of work. Like Tom was talking about, it was so hard during the week that Sunday was, they looked forward to Sunday. Yeah. Because Bill put them through so much during the week.
Yeah.
So, and it's kind of like the same with Taylor and the people that get to a point in their life where it looks easy, but it's not.
Yeah, oh yeah. And getting the work ethic.
It's yes, and that's the only thing. That one thing I can say about Taylor is she really has. I mean, first of all, she's a brilliant writer and a great artist, but she worked really hard.
Yeah, and I think that is the interesting thing, and that's why I think I was so fascinated by football people being so mad that she was being shown during these games, because that was the beginning. I'm not saying that's us at all. Check our record. That we are big fans of it because I watched a documentary because my wife is a massive fan of hers. So I watched a documentary, and what you just said was very evident. Like, oh, Taylor's a fucking dog. Like, she is in the studio working. What's the release? What's this? What's the marketing? Where are we headed? She's a part of all of it. She's an absolute beast. So I thought, like, football people would be like, hey, this is a badass if I've ever seen it. And now she's with Travis Kelce, who's one of our greatest players of all time. Like, it's a perfect situation. But I think more people are learning that about Taylor through this entire process. And obviously the NFL got a massive Swift bump, which is good for the game, which is good for the sport.
No doubt about it. Yeah.
And she's changed like her music. How hard is it to go from like what she started as with like her Fearless album and like very much country to now where she's kind of like a
very,
pop.
very different. It's obviously not hard for her. It would be hard for me. Like if I decided, look, I can't make any other music than the music I make. I can't decide. Okay, well, I'm gonna make a pop record. There we go.
You could do it.
You could do it, Ken. Come on.
I don't know.
I'm actually pitching you to be in a pop record in about a month or so.
Like I sing the way I sing. You know, I just don't think it'd be authentic, and it would be very disingenuous for me to do that. But those that can are very. Of course, Taylor is just. I mean, she's one of the most amazing artists of our time.
Yeah,
you know, and very obviously very diverse.
Yes, there's a lot of different types of songs. This last album, you know, So High School was good.
Obviously,
you know, talking about Travis, we're up there. It's like when you're that personal with your music that you write, like you have to revisit things. Like that can't be fun.
That can't be fun.
You know, like
but as a songwriter and as someone that creates and you write your life. You find yourself doing that.
Well, because when you're singing songs, they talk about songs you want to sing, and you said Tractor Sexy. It's like, I wonder if there's any songs that take you back to like a period of your life that was like maybe a relationship or a situation that happened, and then every time you sing that song, because there's people that listen to your songs and associate them with an era of their life.
Or a moment.
Yeah, or a moment.
Yeah.
And there's some people that can't listen to songs anymore because it's associated with a relationship or something that happened. And when that song comes on, they actually, I can't hear this song. I couldn't even imagine for the people that wrote it and then have to sing it as well. And then just kind of power on to the next song.
Yeah.
That has to be an interesting thing.
No, I have a couple of those, but you're like, your life does change and it evolves, and what used to be really hard 10, 15 years ago is nothing now. You know what I mean? Like, okay, I was there, it happened, but I'm still going to sing it, right?
Yeah.
And so, luckily, I don't have too many of those. I mean, there's a couple of songs that have had out on the radio. When I hear them, it reminds me of a certain girl or a certain breakup, or or me getting. I don't know, said no to by a certain girl that I wasn't really happy about.
There's no way that would happen. No way.
Back in the day, so it's
back in the day. There was a time.
But it's true. Music does take us there. It's
takes you back.
That's one of the most powerful things that we have. Is music and sports. Those two things bring people together more than anything in the world. I truly believe that.
Ton's heading to the concert tonight.
Yeah, I am. And do you make a concerted effort to athletes of that town to bring him up on the stage? Because I know Russell Wilson was on stage with Zach. I'm not sure if he was up on stage with you.
Don't you think you should have welcomed Russell Wilson to Pittsburgh?
Well, I don't know that I should have.
Yeah, because you've caused more destruction in that stadium. And done had more impacts in that city.
No, but he's friends with Zach, so that didn't bother me.
Yeah, well, for me, I thought he was the welcoming committee. I thought that was awesome. I'm like, Russell Wilson has already.
I see what you're saying, but it didn't bother me.
But
you are more synonymous with Pittsburgh at this point than Russell Wilson.
Do you try to bring him up every concert though, or just if they're
not
there?
Every time? It just depends on. I mean, the funniest thing that's ever happened is when it was years ago in New England, and when Wes Welker was still playing for the Patriots. I don't know if y'all met Wes or know him at all, but he's like a little bit of a wild card when he's had a few. So it's great.
It's great.
So I could tell that Wes was over there on the side of the stage, and he was, moving his body weight from one side to the other. I could just tell he wanted to come out, right? And so I said, okay, ladies and gentlemen, please make welcome Wes Welker. And they are going crazy. And he doesn't get up. He doesn't say anything. He gets up there on the edge of the stage to say, this is the edge of the stage. He gets up there at the edge of the stage and looks at all of Gillette Stadium and goes,
Anna Baby West. All right.
Thank you, Wes Welker.
All right, so you never know what you're going to get, right? And so, but we've had a lot. If you guys come to shows, I mean, there's going to be. It just happened after Boys of Fall came out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We didn't have that many musicians hanging around the bus at shows. It was all coaches and athletes. And it's still that way.
Hey, we love what you do, man. Genuinely. And it's not just athletes, obviously. It's a bunch of us stooges that just like to get away, man. Your music just takes you to a good time. And then you get on a couple milligrams, which I know you haven't done since high school or whatever. You get a couple milligrams, you start listening to lyrics, you're like, there's a real deep ass fucking message in this thing. Whatever he's doing.
I didn't write all those songs. I wrote some of them, but
hey, your writers, the songs you pick, the brand that is Kenny Chesney Music makes bangers, and we can't thank you enough for stopping by.
Man, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
What are you gonna do the rest of the day? Vocal?
I'm gonna go up. I'm gonna go up to the bus, and I may go for a run. I'm gonna do about 4 rounds of heat and ice.
Ooh. Okay, how long were you in each one?
I do about 15 minutes in the heat, maybe 2 minutes in the ice.
And then back into the heat?
Back into the heat for 15 minutes, 2 minutes in the ice. I do 3 or 4 rounds.
Ending on what? Heat or ice?
Ending on ice.
Okay. There is a conflict of conversation between.
Yeah. But I like to end on the
cold.
ice.
Yeah, me too, because it makes you feel fresh.
Yeah, I got it. I got to have my legs tonight.
Oh, we're doing a lot of running tonight.
So yeah.
I think I saw you switched out maybe 14 guitars one night. Whenever I saw,
I have like 3 different ones that I play, and it's really no rhyme or reason. We just got into the habit of me playing a certain guitar on certain songs. I mean, I have no.
Not superstitious.
That's the reason we always close in Gillette. We always open.
Boom. It's a capital of no Shoes Nation, right?
Yeah, that's right, baby. We always open in Tampa and we always close in Gillette, and it's been that way since 2005. And it's because of the sports in my life. Like, I am very superstitious when it worked, I went, okay, we're not changing nothing.
Smart.
Yeah.
And then we'll just run it back for another 30 years.
Yeah, that's why we always end in Gillette.
Well, we're lucky you
Always.
came through here in Indianapolis. We hope you come back.
Thank you, brother.
often.
Thanks for having me.
Ladies and
Appreciate
gentlemen,
it.
the man who is about to sell out a stadium near you. How many more shows do we have left?
A lot.
We're in the middle.
We go all the way to the end of August. So we got another 2 months left. Easy. More than.
You're going to crush it.
Mm-hmm.
Go see him. Ladies and gentlemen, Kenny Chesney. Appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you guys.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes finally
Hell yeah, go Pats.
Thanks for having me.
You make a putt. Oh, can you putt?
Let's see.
Hold on.
Hell yeah, Kenny, give a putt.
Drum roll.
Can you putt or no? Are you?
I'm terrible. We'll see.
But let's just say, like, if you were to putt,
Okay, so if I was to putt,
there's 7 balls right there. You think you make 2 of them?
over and under on how many gets in.
Well, that's what I'm saying. How good are you? I don't know. You tell. Like,
Not that good. I haven't putted in forever.
haven't putted in forever.
Over and under.
2. No, 1.5. Where are you putting from? Are you going? What are you doing? Are you
boom
going
to boom, or-
Rory McIlroy?
Oh, he's going back.
Oh, you're going this way.
Oh, so you want to go this way?
No. Hey,
no.
whatever you want to do. Whatever you want to do. This is your world. No shoes.
No shoes world.
Good read.
I don't know how it runs. So you want me to go here or there?
Do the one that's closest to you. That one over there. Hold on. Okay, sir. Jesus Christ. Kenny, I mean, what are we doing? Spraying?
So you're saying.
Yeah, summertime, baby.
Yeah, it is.
You know, when it's up.
It's finally here.
1.5. Yeah, just need 2. Just need 2.
Hold on, though, Kenny. Hold on, Kenny.
You hear that old ballpark man?
He's back in gear.
Okay, if Kenny Chesney here, the absolute legend, can make 2 of these 7 putts, 25 people will win 500. Okay, now he's got to get to a 6.
Yep. Okay.
Oh, no.
After the first putt, though.
Yeah,
I
you got a good
feel
read.
good.
Got the
Feel
read.
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bingo.
Yeah, exactly.
Bingo.
Got the read.
Good
Exactly.
speed.
Ladies and gentlemen, Kenny Chesney, obviously country music icon, man who sells out stadiums. If he can go 2 of 6 here, 25 people will win 500.
Boom! Yeah, come on, Kenny.
All we need is 1 more putt to fall. Kenny Chesney's in Noblesville tonight. He's coming to a city near you.
Yeah.
King
I'll get legs.
Kenny!
Get legs.
Oh,
I think Kenny's
no.
sandbagging us.
Yeah.
Oh, 2 of 7, he says. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Of course, he's Kenny Chesney.
What are you, a
I got a house
scratch?
in the Virgin Islands. You think he's golfing? Yeah, he's golfing.
Of
What are you, a
course.
scratch
Get
golf?
putted.
Hey, we just got hustled. We got bamboozled by Kenny Chesney. If Kenny Chesney makes this putt, 25 people will win 500. Oh, shit.
Rory McIlroy there.
All right. Whoa. He's already going through enough. He's listening to your music to get through it. If Kenny Chesney can bury this putt, 25 people will win $500. No pressure at all.
Nope.
25 people are living a better life because of your putt, Kenny. Can you bury it? Nope. Pulled it. Jesus.
That's a bank shot.
Bank would count.
That's right.
It is open.
Kenny Chesney's already made 1 putt. All he has to do is make another. If this one falls, 25 people will win $500. Oh, no.
Here we go. Don't move out of my bank in.
Oh.
All right.
Hold on 1 second.
Yep.
Hold on a second, Kenny. Hold on a second, Kenny. Kenny Chesney's currently on the Sun Goes Down tour.
Summertime is finally here.
If he makes this putt, 25 people win $500. Oh no!
It looks so good.
thought it was in.
Could have broke it. It would have been all right. Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. That's awesome. Golly,
I know.
he was all around it. Hey, those are all 2 putts. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, Kenny Chesney. Thank you, buddy.
Yeah, Kenny.
Hey, you'll make it next time. We'll see you next year when you come back. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Kenny Chesney, what a man.
Awesome.
All right, so we just had a music program.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Energy, vibes, high, summer,
Whole
high.
crew. Anna, thank you. Dave, thank you. You guys crushed it. Thank you, guys.
Tell you what, they said 2024 was going to be for the vibes, but I didn't know it was going to be like this.
Who's they?
A lot of people.
I think you said 2024. The vibes.
I feel like
Our cowboy
everyone
hats.
adopted that.
How about Kenny Chesney here, obviously, to talk about Tennessee being in the College World Series Finals.
Yep.
That's why you have Kenny Chesney on a sports program. He was jacked up. You say, yeah, maybe they win.
Yeah, exactly.
Think they will.
Against George Strait's A&M.
How about how long he has been at it? Now, Tennessee, obviously the favorite here in the World Series happening in Omaha. I believe we'll be talking to Ryan McGee tomorrow.
Okay.
About everything popping off on Saturday, game one. That is obviously a best of three series, which we all knew, obviously.
Yeah,
and
sure.
We cannot wait to watch college baseball entertaining.
Very much so.
The bats, ping. We got real crowd. Omaha is obviously bananas, and the mayor of Omaha, Ryan McGee, will be joining us tomorrow. A lot of news happening around the sports world, including the NFL. Tom Brady joined Colin Cowherd yesterday to break down, his mindset going in to call a game. Colin Cowherd said what he's doing is one of the most difficult things to do in sports media, which is be great 200 times straight for 8 seconds at a time. And if you have one flub, you are going to get ridiculed. He said, I have flubs all the time, but it's just kind of who I am. And then Tom Brady says, you're doing okay. Colin Cowherd says, I'm fine, yeah. But he did ask about his broadcasting and how he's going to view it. Here's Tom Brady's answer.
So I want you to take me from the first time you put on a headset upstairs until the UFL game and your last, you may have practiced today. When you watch the tapes, do you notice a difference with you?
Yeah, I would say yes, and I also think there's still so much more room for improvement. And almost like when I was a player, I never felt like I did things the right way. There were games where I'd go in afterward and think, God, I'm the worst quarterback in the NFL. Like, why would they even want me to play quarterback for this team? And I'm sure I'm going to feel that way here at Fox, where I finish a game and I go, God, I didn't even give them what they wanted. And it's a very challenging thing in your own mind. I've asked a few people, like, how do you know that you did a good job? And I think for me, so much of this is going to come down to the preparation. And did I feel like I was prepared? Did I feel like our crew was prepared? Did I give them the best over the course of the week so that we could give ourselves the best opportunity to be successful for the fans? Because really the game is the show. We're there to add our take on it in our analysis. But it's also, did we feel like we added to the broadcast? And from my standpoint, I'm going to work as hard as I can in the process of it, as you talked about earlier, to make sure that I do deliver, because I don't want to let anyone down. I don't want to let the people at Fox here down, and I certainly don't want to let the great NFL fans down either.
Shout out to Colin Cowherd yesterday, obviously on Fox Sports, and he has been a guy who's been doing it for 30 years at a high level. Him and Tom have had a better conversation whenever they're together than any of those Let's Go podcasts with Jim Gray.
Yeah, for
Jim
sure.
Gray is phenomenal, obviously, but what Tom Brady opens up to Colin Cowherd about is actual good shit. Him talking about letting everybody down is like the Tom Brady difference, right?
Yes.
Like his big team, work hard. He wants to have the production crew ready. I remember when they talked about Monday Night Football, whenever John Gruden was on the call. I don't know if he knew how to operate emails at that time, but I do know that he knew how to call a game. Basically, that entire week was like John Gruden prepping the production company and prepping the Monday Night Football crew on how he's going to cover certain things in a game. So it was like John Gruden directing that, and whoever's commentating, like, hey, just kind of, you need to keep this show on. I think it's going to be similar for Tom. I think it's going to be very similar for Tom, and I think this is good news. And we are all Greg Olsen fans.
Yeah.
Yes.
We all love Greg Olsen. This show loves Greg Olsen.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody loves Greg Olsen. And I think Greg Olsen is a top man. Okay, I think he's a lead man. I think he's a front man for whoever, wherever, whenever he gets whatever gig it is. But having the greatest of all time be this plugged in and dialed in into how to broadcast a game and to hear his brain spill, and not only his brain, by the way, Bill Belichick's brain spill that has been osmosis through his, is good for sports. I appreciate those convos between Colin and Tom, but I also appreciate the fact that we're about to have an entire season learning from the GOAT while he's calling primetime games.
Yeah, I think it's going to be unbelievable. Just the amount of stories.
You're a Patriots fan.
Of course, yeah, but just like the amount of stories. Like you think about, when Tony Romo first came on, everyone loved him because he was going to tell you what was going to happen in the play before, and then he was right all the time before the Jim. But that's the thing with Tom. Like Tom's going to be able to do that. He's going to be able to tell you all the stories. Yeah. I just worry about the guy who has to control his audio or, his mic, because if that's wrong, like you mentioned, kind of his whole thing, you don't want to let anyone down, the whole, like, do your job type of thing. If someone screws up one of his things, I assume that person is probably the last time they're doing it.
Well, there is going to be an expectation of excellence.
Exactly.
Just like what happens when Tom Brady goes into the Tampa building.
Yep.
Everybody there ups their game because they know that they can't be the reason why this doesn't go well. But Fox understands what's happening here.
Oh, yeah.
I think everybody on that crew knows. And Burkhardt, absolute dog. I mean, they are going to be phenomenal. I'm very, very excited for the Tom Brady debut.
Yeah, I mean, and all those guys can only benefit from if they put on an excellent product. But I think the thing I'm most excited about is we always hear about the quarterback meetings between whoever's doing the game, and certain guys will always say like, "Oh, I always loved meeting with Joe Buck and Troy or whatever, whoever it may be." I think very few people have been able to get out of those guys what Brady potentially will, and do it in a manner where it's actually digestible. Like, it seems like sometimes they might get something and then it ends up being just super quarterback jargony where it's like, that's cool, but it's tough to understand what you're really saying. I feel like Brady will be able to simplify what these guys are saying to him and then what they're trying to do within the game more so than a lot of guys have been able to do.
No offense to Collinsworth. No offense to even Troy Aikman, who we're all fans of. Herbie, we're all fans. Olsen, we're all fans. Everybody in the league is a fan of Tom Brady.
And grew up wanting to be him.
Yeah, this is just like the Aaron Rodgers thing.
Right.
Like, you hear any player talk about Aaron Rodgers, it's like dog. Any athlete, you hear him talk like Aaron Rodgers is a dog, is a dog, is a dog. But you hear media and, other people, fan bases talk about it differently. Like Tom Brady, everybody that's in the NFL right now is grew up.
Yes.
So whenever he's asking them a question, what are you looking at here? And then they're trying probably to get information from Tom.
For sure.
In that same conversation as well and what he should be looking for. It should be a thing of beauty for us. Speaking of a thing of beauty, I got a chance to witness Olympic trials last night for the swimming at Lucas Oil Stadium. It's a 9-day thing that's taking place. I believe that is replicating how long the swimming duration of the Olympics is in Paris at the end of July here or whatever it is. I couldn't recommend this event more. It was electric. They turned Lucas Oil Stadium, cut it in half, 2 massive Olympic-sized pools, one for warm-up, one for the show. They had this light show that a local Indianapolis company put together with Dot, and the production was phenomenal. And USA Swimming had so many talented swimmers in there where the races were electrifying. And then some of our goats showed up and performed exactly how we would hope that our goats would perform. 22,209 people came and watched last night. It's a world record for the most amount of people at a swim meet or a swim event. The previous record before this week was in Rio for the Olympics. It was 16,000 or something. Then on Sunday, they had 20,000. Last night, they had 22,209. World record for an indoor swim meet. And it was awesome. The show was awesome. The fans were awesome. The USA Swimming folks I was hanging out with were so incredibly hospitable. Kyle Sockwell, who's a content creator, former Arizona State swimmer for USA Swimming, was the one that sent me the formal invite. Said he'd get a tattoo on his ass if I came. It's it's in Indy. It looks sweet. I'm going to come. You don't have to get a tattoo. But they're great hosts, and we got absolute dogs swimming in our pool.
Yeah. Come on.
And I know the Australians have been getting back into this, and they've been running their mouth and talking their shit about the USA Swimming and being sick of hearing the Star Spangled Banner. That's for shoot, brother.
Yeah.
Their swimmers are saying that.
The greatest anthem.
254 gold medals for the USA Swim team, and there's more on the way. Katie Ledecky has the 19 top times in the world's history of the mile swim for women. 19 top times is by one person. Now, Canada swimmers, I guess there's a Canadian lady who has been able to keep up with Ledecky in the 800 or the 400 or whatever. Nobody has touched the American in the 1500. And last night, there's people swimming the opposite direction as she was swimming. We got a 17-year-old who is built like an absolute 45-year-old grown-ass man. And Thomas, he'll be represented in the 200. Yeah, he is a beast. That's what 17-year-olds look like.
What? Are you sure all of them are?
Where?
Kate Douglas, man, I mean, there is just so many studs last night. It was an honor to be there, and Lily King, representing Indiana, does it again.
That's right.
It was fun. Congrats to USA Swimming. Congrats to the world, because you're about to see a show when the United States hit the pool in Paris at the Olympics and dominate. Hour 2 is on the other side. Be a friend, tell a friend something nice. We'll see you then.
In an abandoned warehouse, Arthur Isaac Fischel, the world's AI authority, has summoned the Earth's most influential doofuses for an emergency meeting about the terrifying powers of artificial intelligence. Antonio Margherita, influencer from Italy. Vladimir Borobashnakovsky, Chad Speed, Jim. We catch up with them mid-dinner as Artie Fish tries his damnedest to get the influencer's attention.
Yes, that'll work. Thank you. Scram. Let's get down to brass tacks, boys. The real reason we're here. AI is it's a problem. It's going to kill us all.
It's hard to take you serious with the way your face looks right now.
I mean, you look like a fucking asshole. What are you talking about?
Oh, the only thing artificial is those fucking balls you call balls.
You look absolutely absurd.
You guys don't understand. You're not listening to me, okay? I'm wearing this because AI can hear your thoughts. It can get into your brain, guys.
You ain't got no fucking brain.
Once again, struggling to take anything you say serious. My team told me I should come to this. You look like a joke. He looks like a joke.
Like an absolute jerk off.
Does this look like a joke? Huh? That's a nuclear bomb.
Nah, that's fake. Just
fucking bad man puts marbles in plastic case.
You need a guma, my friend.
You guys aren't listening. This right here, AI gave to me. A nuclear freaking bomb. Told me the only way to save this screwed up world is to blow it up. This guy awake? Idiot.
Wake up, asswipe.
You wouldn't hit somebody with a nuclear
No, yeah, fuck.
No, don't you worry. This one is foolproof.
I doubt it.
I brought it here, boys. Not just for show.
What?
But because I'm gonna blow up the world right now!
Holy shit! That's Jack Carr!
Turns out, that was an actual nuclear bomb. Arthur Isaac Fischel was going to blow the entire world up, and Jack Carr saved us all. It was his actual first shot. And Artie Fish is actually dead. Forever. Thank the Lord that Jack Carr sensed trouble. Hell yeah, Jack Carr. Hell yeah.
The following program is a collection of stooges talking about happenings in the sports world. It is meant to be comedic informative. The opinions expressed on this show do not necessarily reflect the beliefs of their peers, their boss, or ESPN. There may be some cuss words because that's how humans in the real world talk. If you are young, please seek permission before watching any further.
Hey, let's go!
This show stinks, and the fact that you listen, we are very, very thankful for.
The all-time leading tackler for the Green Bay Packers, you pig! Damn it! Be a friend, tell a friend something nice could change their life. Sport! Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to our humble abode, the Thunderdome. On this summertime's finally here Thursday, June 20, 2024. Hour 2 of the program starts now. Summer is finally here. It is summer solstice. This is the longest day of the year. It is hot as hell in Indianapolis. We assume it is hot wherever the hell you are as well. Let's go ahead and stay cool. And let's remember, the sun is a pretty important thing. And for those of us that have 4 seasons in our lives, whenever it gets just overabundantly thick and hot, and we all think to ourselves, this is the worst feeling imaginable. When you walk outside and it feels like you walked into a sauna, but you didn't walk into a sauna. No. You just walked outside and you get hit with a little moisture and you can't breathe and it's just relentlessly hot, and bugs are now somehow more prevalent than ever.
So many bugs.
And there's just sweating. And then if you're my Caucasian build, you're cooking not only from the outside, but also the inside. You're getting broiled and baked at the same time. No. Let's remember that there was a -10 day where we were yearning for this.
For sure.
Yes, okay, it is just the first day of summer. We are nowhere near the time where we should be bitching about the heat. Okay,
absolutely not.
That comes 2 weeks from now. Right now,
right.
okay, let's remember that there was cold ass times just a few months ago. A few months ago, there was time where we didn't have have any sun for like 4 or 5 months. The cloud was the only thing that we saw. What's above the cloud? Well, certainly sunlight, but we're not seeing any of it because it's gloom and doom. It is winter in Indianapolis. Now, it's 94, 150% humidity. It's impossible to go outside with pets and even babies. But let's remember, this is a good thing.
Amen.
Summer's finally here. Happy summer.
Happy summer so.
Way better than the winter.
That's one half of the hammer.
Dahn.
Cowboys tone digs. Amen. Way better than the ice all over everything when you can't go outside. You're kind of forced to stay inside. And then the sun's not there. And there's a little seasonal depression setting in because you haven't actually had fresh air in about 3 to 4 days because it's impossible to go outside. Remember those days whenever it gets excruciatingly hot over the next week or so.
But we do need those days. We need all 4 seasons to enjoy what we have right now.
That's right. People that didn't grow up before seasons have no idea.
No.
Well, we get to enjoy the sun every day. We're more active. We're more fit. We're more happy. Yeah, we get it. Okay.
So what?
But have you ever had a moment where you look outside like it's the beginning of civilization and you go, the sun, holy shit. Have you ever had that? Where it disappeared for maybe 3 to 4 months and then it popped out of nowhere? Think about the early days of humans when that sun just disappeared in the Midwest.
Oh, boy.
They had to think that this is gone forever.
We're done.
So we're dead. So what do we do now? These things don't go. And then it came back. Think about the celebration. That's what we have right now.
Yeah.
That same celebration about, hey, summertime's finally here. The old ballpark man is back in gear. That's the Talks the Table at Boston Connor and at Ty Schmidt. What a conversation that first hour with Kenny Chesney.
Fantastic. I mean, I was kind of celebrating your guys' face. I mean, New England, of course, we got the Super Bowls. Of course, we just won the NBA championship. But son of a bitch, Kenny Chesney is a son of Massachusetts. His home is New England, and clearly his what's the word for it? His paradise, his White House, his Taj Mahal is Gillette Stadium.
No, it's an island.
It's great.
In the Caribbean.
No, he said it. He said the capital of No Shoes Nation is in fact Gillette Stadium. And he agreed. And he said,
yeah, but he was in the middle of a take. He did that a couple times where he said,
No. He
joining us now, ladies and gentlemen, is a man who's in an attic in Ohio.
We got Kenny.
He did say it always ends in Gillette or whatever, which is certainly, I guess, another tip of the cap to the people of Boston who don't have enough.
Sure. Amen.
He didn't say why it ended Gillette, though.
Well, yeah, he said because they had one successful run in 2005 or whatever, and then we're doing this again.
He did say that, but what he meant to say was like, I was so sick of crowds after being at Gillette that I just had to end the tour there.
Okay, so that's why it ends.
No.
It was supposed to continue.
Yeah.
But they said never doing that again. Joining us now is a man who's in an attic in Ohio. I assume he's been to plenty of Kenny Chesney concerts. Probably very sober at all those. Ladies and gentlemen, college football national champion, Super Bowl champion, all-time leading tackler for the Green Bay Packers, A.J. Hawk.
Yeah,
Hawker, how about Kenny Chesney, man? He's jacked, dude, jacked.
Oh, he is jacked. Yeah, Kenny's awesome. I've actually never been able to attend one of Kenny's concerts. Now, General Bobby Carpenter's been to lots and lots of Kenny shows, but yeah, I don't know why. It's never timed up.
You have to do
that.
The
dude's great. The dude's awesome.
Same
no,
he's Brett Michaels.
Yeah, Brett Michaels concerts, no problem. I can put on my affliction pants.
15 years ago.
Yep. I can do what I need to do. I can get in the tour bus. I can take my photos. And I get having 4 kids is a little bit of a problematic whenever it comes to scheduling stuff. But a Kenny Chesney concert's worth it because everybody has the same mindset. It's like, people talk about New Orleans being awesome, and it certainly is. But another reason why it's awesome is because everybody's there with the same exact mindset. Yeah. So anytime you have everybody rowing in the same direction anywhere, it's going to be good. And that's like a Kenny Chesney concert, just like a Jimmy Buffett concert.
Bingo.
Same exact thing. Everybody's kind of going in the same exact direction, thinking the same thing. Before we have another super surprise guest join us up here on stage, we've got to cover some of the stuff that's happening around the NFL, more specifically in Pittsburgh. So Mark Caboli wrote an article, in front of the program. Mark Caboli wrote an article on The Athletic about Justin Fields. That article was then taken in a couple different ways, put out by aggregators, and then basically said that Mark Caboli said that he was disinterested. This guy hates being a Pittsburgh Steeler. Mark Caboli never said that in his article, but certainly JPA Football, NFL Rumors, Dove, all the standard aggregators who read something, take it how they feel it is, no matter how wrong they are, unproven they are, and then put that out as fact. This is now the world that we live in, and that can get people. People read that and they think it's true because maybe that is something that could happen to Justin Fields. So much so that Omar Khan was actually asked about this particular thought on 93.7 The Fan, which actually used to be B94.
It did.
Okay, and Adam Baum used to run shit on B94 back in the day. Now it's 93.7 The Fan, Sports Talk, incredible cast of characters, but they asked Omar Khan about Justin Fields being disinterested and everything like that.
Justin's exciting to have. You know, if you would have told me that we'd be sitting here with Russell Wilson, Justin Fields, and Kyle Allen even 5 months ago, I wouldn't have believed you. We really like Justin coming out of college. Obviously, he had a up and down situation in Chicago, and I'm excited. He's really looked awesome. He's a great individual, too. You know, I didn't really know him personally till he got here. And just, man, what a special person he is.
I used to listen to B94 all the time, and now people obviously listen for the sports talk and sports conversation. What a glowing response about Justin Fields from the general manager of the Pittsburgh Steelers, who just did a trade. And then you think about him talking about, if I would have known we had all these guys, I'd be pumped. How about a new linebacker that they signed from the Baltimore Ravens? Here's a little story coming out of the entire thing. Mr. Humphrey says at some point you got to realize that the grass is always greener. You know, leaving Baltimore, going to Pittsburgh. In response, Patrick Queen put out a video of him drinking wine and watering the grass. You know, because the comment is that the grass isn't always greener. Marlon Humphrey said about Patrick Queen leaving Baltimore and going to Pittsburgh. And then he said, no, it's greener where you water it. And this dude watered his grass out there in Pittsburgh. Patrick Queen's loving being a Steeler. And that's another guy that I think most Steelers fans couldn't have dreamt of being a Pittsburgh Steeler just like 6 months ago. Now everybody's optimistic as hell. Is that a good taste or a good read on how Pittsburgh is?
It absolutely is, because if there's been one weakness in the defense the last, I don't know, since Ryan Shazier's injury, it's been the linebacker position. They have tried. They have not been able to replace him. And Patrick Queen, who was a first-round pick, a top pick, has been incredible in Baltimore, was like Omar going to get him you put the stamp on, okay, Omar's doing things a little different around here and bringing in guys that are going to help immediately, and bringing in him too. Now that we have TJ and Cam, you got Minka in the back, and now you have Patrick Queen in the middle. You've got
Cam there? Is that everything good there?
Yeah, everything's good now.
Okay.
Now or
is it?
Well, he missed like a day or two.
Okay, everything's good. Because he said my plan is still to be a Steeler fan.
Yeah, listen, he
Still
was
his plan?
Which he is, yeah.
He was born in Pittsburgh. He's the son of Ironhead Hayward. Okay, he's going to be in Pittsburgh his entire career. But now we got guys.
Well, I hope somebody tells Omar that.
Yeah, Omar gets it. Okay. Everybody gets it.
Well, I'm just saying. I think because there is a situation. A
little bit. There's no situation.
Because Cam could come over here to the Indianapolis Colts and we'd be
got to pay him.
Yeah,
got to pay him, right?
I think that's all. That's how it works. I mean, he wants to be.
He has a contract. Okay. AJ,
does he like?
Okay.
Does he like me?
Okay. Anyways,
contracts don't mean much.
Yeah, go through that defense. Go ahead.
But we got guys,
and let's make sure we're telling the truth.
We got guys at all levels now, and got Joey Porter Jr. last year on the outside, who he looks like he's going to be great. So it doesn't look like there's any holes on that defense, and the offense has got weapons galore. And Justin Fields doesn't have to be great in training camp. Okay. Russell Wilson's.
It's not even training camp yet either.
Already. He's already great. You're right.
It's not for camp.
Yeah, believe me, we got a lot of fugazi stories we're going to have to talk about like they're actually real.
Oh, yeah.
But like Pittsburgh Steelers fans,
excited.
Potentially thinking, though, from aggregators that are taking, quotes out of context and things like that, and I'm not even going to get into that for our life, but it is a real problem.
Yeah.
And there's fake quotes out there from not just Ball Sack Sports anymore.
Yeah. No.
Now there's like fake quotes from like other people that are getting clipped and taken for real by these aggregators, because the aggregators do get things right. So every time they get something right, it almost builds up the credibility, which then makes whenever something is just completely wrong or false or taken out of context and put out there more legit. And then you could potentially ruin somebody's entire everything. And if Steelers fans see that Justin Fields isn't happy being a Pittsburgh, the first response from all of Pittsburgh is, we don't care. Get him out of here. And it's like, that doesn't need to happen.
We want volunteers, not hostages.
Bingo. Okay? That's what I'm saying. Like, so that's where like some of that, and I'm happy Omar came out and went to bat for him. But with the addition of Patrick Queen and what the Steelers have going on, are they okay to be as optimistic as they are, AJ? Obviously, the AFC North is a kitchen. It's hot in the kitchen. But do you think the Pittsburgh Steelers have a chance here? I actually do. Call me crazy.
I do too. You mentioned their defense, like you said, all three levels. And Patrick Queen, if Steelers fans, which they should be very aware of him from his play in Baltimore, the dude is an absolute monster, can fly, he's physical, can do everything. He'll be on the field the whole game. But for Diggs, like, are Pittsburgh fans, are they commonly very positive and optimistic, or are they usually the other way?
They are.
Last few years, there's certainly been some.
They're not the most optimistic bunch.
But you're the most diehard. They're the most diehard bunch, but also, like, I think when they congregate with each other, it's fun to like talk about how bad they're going to be or how bad they have been.
Yeah, they're a miserable shit-talking bunch for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, that is misery loves company, and shit-talking people love company.
It's the family thing, though. Like, hey, I can say something bad about the Steelers. You can't because you're not a diehard Pittsburgh person.
Bingo. That is absolutely how it would go, especially around a couple, RNC Mongos and anything else.
I'd say we're optimistic until you give us a reason not to, and that reason doesn't have to be very big.
So, on that note, remember, They were going to Super Bowl last year because Kenny Pickett in the preseason.
Remember?
Yeah, you're right.
They were
I remember some of
killing
those
teams.
clips. I remember some of them clips would pop up. Yeah,
Hang the banner.
You're right.
It wasn't just because how Kenny Pickett was doing it. It was because Matt Canada figured out how to call an offense. That is what the celebration was in preseason last year. Matt Canada, this offense coordinator who has been inept and has been a rather poor offense coordinator, whether it's players, him, whatever the hell the reasoning is. Preseason comes around and Kenny Pickett's throwing it all over the yard. George Pickens is wide open. Matt Canada's using space, using things other than just jet sweeps. It's like, holy hell, the Pittsburgh Steelers have it figured out. And then the regular season comes when teams are actually game planning and actually using stuff, and all of a sudden it goes right back down to the crowd. And it was then whenever they all lost hope. And then Matt Canada gets fired. All of a sudden, hold on, we might make a run at this thing. And then the end of the year is, oh, we're above 500 again. Great. Okay, we need to change everything. And Omar Khan has. He has done things vastly different than former Colbert run Pittsburgh Steelers team. I think they have a right to be optimistic. And I like Patrick Queen.
Oh, yeah.
He's great on Twitter. I didn't follow him as a Raven. Follow him now, obviously. He's a great Twitter follow. He's active. He's very funny.
Gets it.
Charming.
If Russ is Russ, man, like they could be as good as they want to be.
Really
man.
nice.
Think about it. If Russ
he
plays
found
like
some really green grass.
he did, is that his actual yard? Do you think?
I don't know. You would think a sprinkler system potentially with how large the yard is, because
He's going to be out there a while if he wants to water that whole thing by hand.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And maybe he decided not to use the sprinkler system that he installed himself.
Could have.
Because he wanted to get the point across that, I'm watering the grass.
I tend to this.
Do you remember back in the day where there was a drought and you weren't allowed to water your grass?
Oh, yeah.
What?
We're about a week away from that.
When?
That was all. Like there was actual news, breaking news, and like alerts like you are not allowed to water your grass.
Get in trouble for running your sprinklers. Yeah, California does that a lot. I think in Ohio, I've gotten emails saying like, hey, this is how you need to limit your water use and all of that stuff.
What the hell?
Legit, yeah. So everybody's yard just looks like crap except for Frank's down the road, and Frank's obviously breaking the law.
Right. Yeah.
Frank's using my kid's water for to water the grass, and that's a good looking yard.
Yeah. You couldn't even flush. It was like, hey, you're only flushing if you take a shit. Like if you're pissing, you got to leave that in there all day. We're not just burning gallons by flushing the toilet.
Hey, with how hot it is, and once again, we're thankful it's hot. Remember?
Yeah. This early.
Remember, AJ? We're thankful.
We are very thankful for the humidity, especially. That's what I'm thankful for. You're right. It is nice to go outside and not be freezing, though. It's cool. I like it.
Sounds like AJ's on the other side.
AJ, listen, we're buying in. Remember, it's all about the mindset here. Used to be so cold. Now it's great. And when those days were cold, we're yearning for this. But you walk outside and you get wet.
Oh, yeah.
Immediately.
That's not cool. Why is it doing that? Can we not stop that? How come the smart people haven't figured that one out?
Can we have like 70 to 72 every single day?
It was great for that week.
I don't even know if we had a week straight of spring. I think we had like maybe
2 days.
2 days and then a break and then a couple of days. They really, and that's what the NFLPA is wanting to do with this training camp. They're wanting to kind of, slowly roll into this thing and then heighten it up. So we had 2 days of spring, then winter was back. And then 2 days of spring, and winter was back. And then, boom, we had summer. No, we don't. We have winter. And then all of a sudden this week, it's like, you have a sauna now.
Yeah, summer's here.
Everybody gets a sauna. That's really cool. That's really nice.
Yeah,
great.
It's nice waking up in the morning and having all your windows completely fogged up already because the AC inside is so cold, and then outside it's like, oh, okay, it's 95 and humid outside already.
Yeah, and how come all of our air conditionings always have some sort of hiccup?
You're
when
telling
you
me.
need it.
You're telling me.
Why is that? This is a lifetime warranty. You're going to love what this thing's blowing forever. And then as soon as it gets hot, it's like, yep, going to have to get a checkup on it. Yeah, we just had to tune it up a little bit, do a little bit of this. It's like, well, isn't this what I did last year?
Well, and those guys always talk to you like you work on air conditioners for all day, every day. It's just all mumbo. Well, your damper, you see, it's at about a 3/4 way right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get in there. I'm going to move a couple things around. Your panels, I noticed a couple scorch burns on there, so we're going to have to remove that as well. It's going to be, I don't know, I could probably get in and out for, I don't know, $5,500.
Yeah, and then filter. Have you checked your filter? Normally, filter is an issue. You see this red light right here. It's like, I changed the filter out a month ago or whatever.
Yeah.
Good, I've changed a new one now because obviously, okay.
Probably get you a new one for, I don't know, $779.99. No big deal.
We can be there in 4 days. Well, I get that's good. I think
it's really hot right now.
I think it's wild. Being an adult is crazy. Life never stops.
Sounds like
there's no adults. There's no adults. You know that. There's no adults.
I mean, these dudes live in apartments downtown. It's like
living the dream. I mean, I can't even imagine that situation. That's never happened.
Do you have somebody coming in doing your laundry?
Used to actually, kind of a situation, kind of a situation.
You just turned your apartment into a hotel
with my recent laundry person. Had to kind of kick him to the curb.
Sticky
Get the hell outta
fingers.
here. No, not even that. Just maybe fraudulent hours spent. You could say. No, it's not talk. No, I would never trust.
You're
talk.
saying
What do you mean by fraudulent?
Yeah, okay.
What do you mean?
It took 8 hours, they said, but really,
Bingo. There you go. Yeah.
it was that
You
was
probably
a
had
30-minute
streaks
drive.
in there. You probably had streaks in your little whitey tighties.
Yeah, they hand clean the
So,
tighty whities.
so funny enough that you guys say this. I ran a test myself. Hey, I'm going to do most of my laundry and then see what these people come back to me with. This should be the cheapest that it's ever been this week. Of course, it was the most expensive. So I said, you know what? Get the hell out of here. Yeah, exactly. They're trying to get me, and I got done.
Let's talk. Yeah, you did. Hey, way to go.
Yes, I did. And guess what I did yesterday? My laundry.
Wow.
How about it? And I folded it too.
Whoa.
Didn't leave it in the basket. Usually I do that for 4, 5, 6 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, not bad at all. We're growing up step by step. I'm never dealing with that air conditioning shit. So I there's a chance I do stay in an apartment.
This is what happens when the NBA championship season is over and
doing
all you
laundry
have
now.
left is.
Yep. Yeah, that's a good point, actually. And out of range. Holy shit. What a television program.
You know what else is an incredible television program?
I think I know where you're going.
Terminal List.
Amen.
Oh, yeah. Boy, is it.
Yeah.
You know the person that is wrote the books of the Terminal List series? There's 7 of them now.
Do I?
With the most recent one being, boom! Red Sky Morning. And it's morning, not like the time of day.
No.
Morning like rest in peace.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
This guy's former Navy SEAL. This guy right here. Save
The
the world.
7th book, right? 7th book, I think.
7th in this series, yeah. 7th one in this series. Former Navy SEAL, obviously one of the greatest authors on Earth, one of the greatest storytellers on Earth, and a man that saved the world when he shot Arthur I. Fischel right in the head, right here in the Thunderdome, just about a year ago.
One shot.
Doesn't get talked about enough, nearly enough. Ladies and gentlemen, New York Times bestseller, Navy SEAL hero, Jack Carr.
Jack. Come on now, Jack.
Yes.
Let's drink whiskey.
That's for you.
Chug it. Drink it all.
Back there. But
Okay,
I didn't have as
perfect.
much hands.
Oh, Jack, you're the best.
Here.
Yep.
You even get a coaster.
Yeah,
Wow.
absolutely.
Look at this.
Right down there.
Awesome. Let's go.
Come on now, Jack. Good to see you.
Jack.
Great to see you guys. Woo.
Smart.
Oh, gotta do some ears. All right, let's do it.
Yeah, thanks a lot, AJ.
Super professional.
Prick.
It is. Woo.
Jack.
Great to see you guys.
Great to see you,
too.
Jack.
You, Jack.
This is a tradition unlike any other.
Amen.
Legitimate, yeah. Greatest author on Earth stopping through the Thunderdome.
It's our masters.
We are incredibly lucky that you've come by here. And, thanks for the whiskey.
Wow.
This is
Absolutely.
Hooten Young Jack Carr, Warrior Proof American whiskey.
Yes.
16 year reserve.
Holy shit.
It looks so good.
This thing's been baking for a long ass time. I assume it's going to be delightful. We'll take a shot at the end of this thing.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that.
Listen.
And the way you market your books, as if
Yeah.
they are.
Oh,
Look at this. Thank you for this.
Oh,
We
yeah.
love this. We have 3 of these in here now that we literally keep around the office to remind us that there are heroes that walk amongst us who have massive brains, who go up into the mountains and just start writing books and knock them out, and the world loves them. Congrats on another release.
Thank you.
Congrats on another release.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you, guys.
Okay, so the right ear stoppage that happened.
Oh, yeah.
I think that was one of the last times you were here with us. It was taking place. So the Terminal List TV show kind of slowed down, but now there's a prequel coming out. You got another book coming out. Are we all systems back go into this
All
thing?
systems are go. It put us behind by about a year, even though the strike wasn't a year long. It's just the compounding effects made it push things about a year. So have the prequel origin story coming out probably next year. We're about to finish up filming that in Budapest, which is a crazy city out there, and then roll right into True Believer, which is the second book starring Chris Pratt.
Okay, so the prequel that you created, you just wrote that for the TV, and then the Terminal List series with Chris Pratt is still going to go for season 2. So this is beginning of a brand new series, pretty much.
Beginning of a brand new series, but it's an origin story of one of the characters to show how he gets to a place where he can do the things that he does in the Terminal List. So he's kind of he is eventually becomes a bad guy. I'm trying to not do any spoilers.
Yeah, please
but
don't. Please
it
don't,
shows the journey to get there. So it's an action thriller and an espionage thriller. Turns
Love
into
it.
that in moving up into Europe and kind of goes to that espionage vibe.
Yeah, that's what we've heard, and everybody has talked glowingly of the entire thing. So are you just thinking of songwriters? They'll say they'll be in a car or on the back of the porch in the Virgin Islands, kind of Chesney.
Yep.
And an idea will come, and they'll hit their notes section or they'll write things down.
Yeah.
For you, for like an angle for a character, when you're just driving around, are you like thinking of things, and then how do you remember them? Or when you get writing, they all come? What is the whole process?
Well,
because you got like 100 characters. Got a prequel, got 7 books here, got 2 seasons here. I mean, there's a lot going on. How do you continue? Is it all day you're thinking about?
It's all day, every day. It's a profession, not a career, is how I looked at it, which is how I looked at the military also. It's called the profession of arms, not the career of arms. And I think there's a difference in the mindset there. So I'm always thinking about it. I love every part of the process. Ideas tend to pop up at the most inopportune times. I think that's probably across the board for everyone. So I scramble and I send myself an email to an address that only I have. So those are only in there.
Okay.
I haven't quite figured out the notes, even though I'm told it's the easiest thing in the world to use. But for some reason, I just send myself this email to an email that only I have access to, and that's how.
Okay, so the email app that you open.
Yeah.
I mean, so many more steps than the notes.
I know. I just don't know why I have a hard time with that.
Select that specific email.
Hey, whatever your process is, you do what you do. It's obviously working. AJ Hawk has a question for you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Jack, I heard you buy a new computer for each book you write. And what exactly is the reasoning behind that? What do you do with the old ones? You smash them so no one get the servers, or what are we doing with the old ones too? Or do you sell them? What do we
no,
do?
I stack those up. You sell those things. You know, there's still stuff on those hard drives. They can get that stuff.
No, those hard drives. No, I heard that's not real.
Not if you smash it.
You hold those. That's a good point. I saw that in the news a couple years back. Somebody, I think, is doing that fairly regularly. But I do a new one just so it's a new, kind of like opening a new notebook. If it was a notebook back in the day, this is a new computer, like a new school year. You'd have your new Trapper Keeper or something like that back in the day. So now it's a MacBook Pro, and get a new one to start. It's probably not the most economically feasible way to go about it.
Hey, your process is your process. You send emails instead of writing a note section, which is the same amount of typing, more actions. But
I might make some changes after this show.
No, don't let us. Please, we need people like you not being affected by people like us. This one, when did this come out for sale?
Came out on Tuesday. Out there now.
Okay, so right now you're doing the book tour.
Doing the book tour, yeah.
Okay, so we go to bookstores.
Yep, bookstores, online, audio. People love the audio. Ray Porter narrates these things, and audio crushes. People love him. So yeah, it's out there everywhere books are sold.
Boots the pavement, though. This is the normal process for authors.
This is it. You go on tour, you get to look people in the eye, shake their hand, and thank them in person. I try to do that online on the socials as much as I can, but doing it in person, there's just something different about that.
Tonight,
I love it.
Tonight you'll be in Carmel, Indiana, at Carmel Clay Public Library. Carmel, by the way, I think has been voted like one of the best towns in America a few different times. It is a beautiful area. I assume there's going to be a lot of Red Scott Morning fans, and I like the old schoolness of like the author world. You know, like you go to a bookstore, go to a library, meet the people that are there, you're signing it, and kind of build up your base. I assume you feel like you have to do these types of things, but now you're at a stage where if you put crap out, which you'll never do, people would buy it. But you never.
I don't want to test that theory, but I mean, I love going out there and saying hi to people and talking to them. And a lot of military, law enforcement, firefighters come through and exchange coins and all that. So it's really nice to thank those guys too.
Ty Schmidt has a question for you.
Jack, have you noticed, like, especially with the prequel series now, are you getting more involved with like the TV production aspect and like kind of really getting your hands on crafting and creating that, and maybe getting, I don't want to say more interested in that than writing novels, because obviously that's always going to be your bread and butter. But through this process, have you kind of realized like, oh, I wouldn't mind actually like maybe splitting this 50-50 with writing and kind of producing television?
Yeah, it's kind of turned into a 50-50 thing because there's so much going on the TV side of the house. Prequel, this next thing. I have 2 other projects out there that haven't been announced yet, but they're
what
outside outside the James Reese Terminal List universe.
Oh, nice. Any sports talk stuff?
There's probably some football on in the background of some scenes here every now and again. In a bar where someone gets thrown through a window, I can see that happening.
Okay, sweet. And if you need anybody to
put you guys out there.
Yeah, we will die.
Yeah, please. Shoot me in the head like that Gable, baby.
Obviously, we're writing our stuff into somebody successful's things so we can ride your coattails. But like getting to learn about the entire world that you are in has been awesome, because I watched the Chris Pratt Terminal List, and I don't watch a lot of shit. Like, I am ADD. I've never finished a book in my entire life. I might be the only human that is semi-successful as an adult that has never been able to finish a book because it's not my bag. The audiobook, though, obviously a weapon. Then the series, how close are the series to the books? And how hard is that to kind of balance with that? Because I see a lot of the book fans, readers out there, very loyal and passionate. Whenever something comes out, the book is so much better. They always say. But I watched that Terminal series. I'm like, I don't see how the fucking book can be better than that whole
That's
thing.
awesome.
How do you balance that, though?
Yeah, well, I knew going into it there was going to be changes. I know the book First Blood, written in 1972 by David Morrell, very different than the Sylvester Stallone movie in the early 80s. Both awesome. And so I knew there was going to be changes going in, so I didn't let that be a surprise to me. So it's more about staying true to the foundational elements of the story, keeping that authenticity piece, staying true to the mindset of a modern-day warrior, and then building from there.
Do your fans get pissed about some of the things?
Some people do, but everybody pictures a character a little bit differently, so it's almost impossible to have all the characters be exactly what's in your head when you either hear it or read it. So you just got to accept that and just be thankful that you have a show.
I assume your fans worry that the TV thing's going to dilute your talent from the book. That seemingly is the overall narrative online whenever I watch like Game of Thrones or like any of these other movies or shows that come from a book.
Harry Potter.
Yeah, it feels like the book people are always like, this is not what this was supposed to be. I assume you have to hear that?
Yeah, you'll hear that regardless.
But that means they love you. It's like a compliment, but it's also like
I do look at it that way. If they're so passionate about these characters and this storyline and it's a little bit off or a little bit off of what they had in their head and they're upset about it, that just goes along with the whole deal.
Connor has
to do the best we can.
Yeah, Jack.
Yeah, you're crushing it.
Yeah, dominating. And last time you were here, you mentioned how like you have to send your books to get approval just because of how like similar they are to what can happen in real life and what information could be real. Is that something you had to do with this story as well, or is this kind of a different process than the other ones?
Yep, I did it for the first three, and I appealed the second one and the third one, and then the government told me that they didn't want to take my appeal of some of the things that they took out of the third one. So I took that as them saying, hey, kid, we have some other stuff to deal with here on the nonfiction side. It's actually serious. Sure. So, kind of be gone. So I didn't do this one. And everything I learned for this book about artificial intelligence, quantum computing, passive targeting, hypersonic weapons, that all came from after my time in the military. Because I had no touch points with that stuff in the military. So for the past few books, it's been things that I've researched already outside of the military. So, they shouldn't.
You do a bunch of research for all these books, though.
I do a lot of research, yeah.
Yeah, and you reach out to people that have like real knowledge on the situation.
I do.
And that is, I think, a massive piece of the success of your shit, right? Because everything, I know it's fiction, right? This is not real people with real scenarios. But I think anytime we hear or see something from you, because how plugged in you are, we're like, oh, that's certainly feasible or possible in somebody who knows eyes. Is that an accurate way to kind of look at it?
Well, I hope so. I hope it's. I talk about it as in terms of fiction with whispers of truth, I hope nothing here comes to fruition. Though in my second book, it was about a Russian invasion of Ukraine. Then that actually happened a couple years later.
Nice job, Jack.
Hold on.
Thanks, Jack.
And, the Devil's Hand had a bioweapon piece to it that was eerily similar to COVID, and it was it outlined before COVID hit. So I hope nothing.
What do we need to look out for?
Jack, what the fuck?
This one's a rough one. This one's a rough one. So I really hope. This.
Yeah, they all were rough. Yeah, bio. Yeah,
this one's rough.
No, they're all pretty rough.
How screwed are we?
Yeah, this one's rougher. This one has submarines, autonomous control of certain military platforms that have access to nuclear weapons, and this artificial intelligent being, this character that I created a few years ago, she's modeled her behavior off my main character, James Reese, who has kind of a penchant for revenge. So things get a little dicey.
No, but we control the AI, right? That's the thing.
Not the new ones.
I mean, my phone updated the other night, and all of a sudden it starts finishing my sentences. So I don't know. That's that Apple thing. It makes it very hard to opt out of. I don't know. Yeah.
Tone has a question for you, Jack. He looks freaked out.
Is this about China?
Got a little China, China, Taiwan, U.S. It's really a book about loyalty and questions of loyalty, but it's through the dynamic of U.S., China, Taiwan conflict.
Are we more or less screwed today versus, let's say, 5 years ago?
With your research?
Yeah, with your research.
Oh yeah.
More.
Okay, no doubt.
Especially after the agreements that are being made.
Okay, so military folks, I bet, love your books.
Yeah,
right?
Military law enforcement. Well, it's and it's interesting how many women are coming to the book signings, because I thought usually that they're picking them up for somebody else, but no, they're reading these things.
Hey, that happens with our show. People don't expect it, but like.
Well, I can see why they would gravitate.
No, they hate this. People hate this show. Yeah, people. Yeah, the super handsome AJ Hawk. I think that is probably potentially what it is. No, but I think a lot of people are with your show, The Terminalist. I heard about it, I saw it, I looked at it, and I'm like, holy shit, this is phenomenal. Like, it doesn't matter where you're from, what you do. If something's good, you're going to be attracted to. I think the last time we talked to you, you're on a big drive and mission for like reading to become like bigger and like still remain because of how it affected your life growing up, I think. You're still on the campaign for literacy and everything like that, right?
No, I love that. People come to these events and they tell me they haven't read a book since high school or haven't read a book since junior high, or they're a brand new reader. They never read anything they weren't assigned in school, and now they love reading. So I'm definitely on a mission to create more readers. I think it was General Mattis. He said something around the lines of, functionally, there's no difference between someone who can't read and someone who doesn't read. But that was pretty interesting.
Oh, so I read on
You
Twitter.
listen. That's the same. That's
I listen. I read on Twitter. They're just 140 characters.
Well, not anymore. Yeah.
Those long ones I'm not opening.
Okay.
So I'm just going to be pretty transparent that I'm not reading the long ones. But it is like reading is so like pivotal. Like we had a book club with Aaron Rodgers. Now some of these books. What was the one he picked?
The Eyes of the Gods, the Egyptian one.
It was 4,000 pages. This is a weekly book club. He put a Bible out, Footprints of the Gods or something like that.
It seems like he wants to get you guys to quit. That's a big book to start with.
Well, it was in the middle, actually. It wasn't even to start with. It was like the third one. And
doubles as a blunt impact weapon or a doorstop, so you have
bingo.
You can do all sorts of things.
Okay, so when you're writing, you know that there's going to be people that are new to reading in this. Or like, what level would you say that your books are? Because it can't be too shallow. Obviously, you have to have sophistication to it, but you're also bringing in a lot of new humans to the genre. So how do you balance that, and how would you dictate the reading level of book if you had to?
Yeah, for me, it's all about the story, but and everybody's going to have a different reading level. Let's say 6th grade is where I started reading these kind of books. So the same kind of books my parents were reading was 6th grade for sure. But everybody's going to be at a different level. Some people might start in 5th grade, some people 7th, 8th, maybe high school. But certainly by high school.
What we're saying is doofuses can read this. That's
or
what
or listen to it. Or listen.
Ty has a question for you.
What about like how obviously it's in the series, but do you intentionally make it accessible so if someone has never read any of the other books prior to it, that they could still read this one and they're not going to be completely lost and not know who any of the characters are?
Exactly. You got to do that in a way that's interesting for readers that have read all the other books, but then also give some background for people that are new to it. And I try to think of creative ways to do that. In The Devil's Hand, I had my character James Reese hooked up to a lie detector, a polygraph at CIA headquarters. And they're asking him questions, and that kind of brings everybody up to speed. In the last one, I had him locked in solitary confinement, so he's having essentially a conversation with himself to stay sane. And so I try to get creative about how I catch people up.
What do we do in this one?
That one right there is a conversation between one of the more popular characters, Jonathan Hastings, who has a background in Rhodesia in Africa, and a conversation between him and my main character, which is probably one of my favorite chapters I have yet written. And no one's getting their head chopped off, no one's blowing up, no cars are going off bridges or anything like that. It's just a conversation, but it's probably my favorite chapter to date.
And you have a little whiskey when you're writing this?
I do have a little whiskey late at night, maybe a little wine, depending on how things are going.
And
so
are you
really late at night.
Are you putting yourself into the character's body? Like, what would this character say? And then, well, how would this character answer when you're writing? Is that what you're doing?
I don't know if I'm doing it in that conscious, but I'm definitely trying to see the world through the character's eyes. So put myself in the enemy's shoes, give a little background from his perspective or her perspective in this case. And so I definitely do that. That would be the same as kind of putting myself in their shoes like that.
Tom Brady asked told Colin Cowherd that he asked some friends of his that do TV, and he was like, how do I know if I did a good job? You know, because like football, if you win, you did a good job.
Good job.
You throw a couple touchdowns, you did a good job. Like when it's commentating, it's like, you don't know. For an author, how do you, like, you got to be on the lines of being one of the greatest of all time at this stage. And is that something you think about? And what is the goal to get to in the authoring world? New York Times bestseller every time you release a book. It's made into a series. It's one of the most popular series on earth. It's like, I don't know what other things authors are trying to do, but I think that is probably the goal. Where do you stand goal-wise, and do you view it that way?
Yeah, I don't really think of it that way, but certainly #1 New York Times bestselling author and having a show, that's all wonderful. But for me, is this book better than the last one? And if I can honestly say yes, then that's success to me. So I want the next book after this to be better than this one. And I think every book that I finished has been my favorite. So up to this point, that's worked out. So for me, that's success.
Jeez.
Unreal.
That's going to get tough, bro.
Yeah.
I'm happy you're a mentally tough guy, like a Navy SEAL.
Yeah.
You know, because you're bouncing back and through. Is this one better than, nope, spit it out, God, do it again. Let me go ahead and rewrite this entire. How many times you got to rewrite shit?
It's, you get through it once, and then I go back a little bit and edit as I go. They tell you not to do that. They say just finish it and get it done. But I go back as I think of something new, and I read the last stuff that I've read, and I kind of edit along the way, because I'm researching along the way. I'm trying to refine along the way. And then once it's all done, then I go back to the beginning, and I try to read it like a reader or a listener for the first time and put myself in that first time reader position and go through it with my red pen, make edits that way.
How you judging yourself pretty hard? Well, what a stupid line.
Every now and again, but not often.
Good for, that's that Navy SEAL.
Yeah, exactly.
That's that Navy SEAL difference.
Yeah,
exactly.
AJ has a question for you, Jack.
Yeah, Jack, earlier you mentioned passive targeting. Can you explain exactly what that may be? And also, what about aliens? Any aliens in your books? And what do you think about the whole situation? Aliens had a run for what, 6-8 months ago. Now it seems like they've died down. What's going on
Now
with
it's
that?
multi-dimensional.
And we're distracted by other things. You know, they're like squirrel, so no aliens anymore, and no aliens yet. But this character, this Alice that I call her, this quantum computer. I mean, she's close to being a sentient being. But what was the first part of that one? So I got
passive targeting.
So remember in Top Gun, remember they have they're flying and you hear the looking for missile lock, and it's like ding ding. So they've got the missile lock and you go, so you know that you've been targeted by something. So there's new technologies out there that allow for those missiles to lock and fire without that ping knowing that you've been targeted. So that's passive targeting.
Oh, so
you have no idea.
So you do research into that, and you ask somebody who's like a fighter pilot, and you go, "Hey, what's the newest thing that kind of creeps you out?" "Oh yeah, I could have a missile on my ass, and I don't even know now."
Yeah,
and that's what they tell you, and you're like, "Well, that seems like something we should."
Exactly. So passive targeting combined with hypersonic missiles, which are the ones that are just essentially going to get here before our generals are even out of bed. So you combine those two things, and then the decision-making process with AI and quantum computing. So the decision-making process is very rapid on the enemy side, which means that we have to in turn be even faster. So what does that mean? It means probably we're moving towards autonomous control of many different weapons platforms, and all of these new next-generation platforms are being built so that they have that capability. So if they're not now, they'll at least have that capability to be autonomously controlled.
So how do we protect them, though? How do we protect from not shooting everybody out of the sky or, shooting everything? What if they're autonomous and they just decide to fire away?
Well, that's the question right there.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, because we're going to have. So basically, what you just said is it has to be autonomous so it can be fast enough because humans aren't going to be able to fast enough to react or whatever. So we have to give the computer independence to basically react itself. But what if the computer's wrong?
There's that as well. So those are all things. There's all these things that I explore in the pages of these novels. So it ended up being essentially a warning about this autonomous control of these platforms. Because, like I said, they're not probably there yet, but they have the capability to be autonomously controlled in the future for these platforms that are coming out in 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years.
A Freaked Out Tone has a question for you.
Yeah, we were talking about recently. I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago. Olympic swimming. And how long did you have to hold your breath when you were active Navy SEAL?
As long as it took. Yeah.
How long could you hold your breath?
We practiced these exercises, and I describe them in one or two books back. You breathe all the way out, hold your breath, hold it for 5 seconds. Take a breath in, hold it for 5. Out, hold it for 10. In, hold it for 10. And you just keep going every day with those exercises until you can get up to a minute and a half, 2 minutes, somewhere around there. Some guys can hold their breath for a long, long time, but probably about a minute and a half. Okay. You have to, as long as it takes to untie these knots that they make you tie and untie at the bottom of the pool, and then the instructor's looking at it, and he's looking at you, and he has to give you an okay and a thumbs up to let you know you did it right. And sometimes they just mess with you. They're just looking at you, kind of like that.
You were a swimmer in high school?
No, not. I mean, I could swim, but I wouldn't call myself a swimmer. And you do a weird stroke in BUD/S also. So you do this thing called a combat recovery stroke. So you're underwater for most of it, and you just come up and grab a breath and then go back.
Oh, you're like an orca.
So there's not any splash. An orca without the splash, maybe.
Yeah, is this you actually? The one on the far left?
Where's the strongest guy? Maybe in the back. It was a couple moons ago.
Yeah, good casting.
Couple moons back.
But we just assume that Navy SEALs are actual SEALs because isn't a part of BUD/S you guys just get thrown out in the middle of the ocean and they're like, you guys got to swim back pretty much?
I heard that, but now they may have done it in the past, but you're going along the coast, so you have to do a 5 nautical mile ocean swim, but you can see the coast because you have to guide yourself down in order to get out of the water at a certain point. And then you do time swims, 2 nautical mile ocean swims every week. You have to get better every week, and there's a time for each phase of training. Same thing with the runs and the obstacle courses. So it's a good time.
How old were you when you went to BUD/S?
I was 22.
You were already in the military and then you chose to go to BUD/S?
I was in the military for like 6 months before BUD/S. So it was boot camp, intelligence school, into BUD/S, all the way through BUD/S to the first SEAL team, to your SEAL qualification training or SEAL tactical training, they called it at the time, and then into a first platoon. First platoon, September 11th hadn't happened yet, and second platoon, 2 weeks into it of deployment, September 11th happens, and then we're just kind of going to the bases. That's what we wanted. And we thought when we got to the teams that we would be doing all this super secret stuff because we all watched the movies in the 80s and 90s, and we all believed that stuff, but really there was not much going on up until September 11th, and then we got to do all the stuff that we thought we were going to do when we came in and all the stuff that we wanted to do for the country.
You're a part of some insane shit.
It was very Western.
You pull from it, though? You pull from it in the books?
Yeah, but I take mostly the feelings and emotions behind certain things. So if my character gets ambushed, let's say in Los Angeles, California, I go back and remember what it was like to be ambushed in Baghdad, 2006, at the height of the war, and I take those feelings and emotions and apply them to a completely fictional narrative here. Or sniper in Ramadi at the height of the war. I don't have to go find a sniper and ask him what that was like, describe those missions, and then have that get filtered through any other books that I've read, interviews that I've watched, movies that I've seen, any preconceived notions. No, it all comes right from my heart and soul directly onto the page. So it's a very personal writing experience.
Okay, so you're a sniper, obviously. We saw.
Oh yeah, we proved. Yeah.
All right. You saved the word.
Yeah.
Yeah, you saved the world.
Gun's still up there.
Yeah, did you see that? We framed the. If we can get a video on that, if we get the camera on that, we actually framed the.
There it is.
Oh wow, look at that.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh, that fires me up.
Yeah. Hey.
Yeah.
Fires us up.
Yeah,
You saved the world.
Every time we see it.
You saved the world.
That was a close one.
It was.
That was AI.
You would know. You would know.
That was the beginning of AI, and you. I mean,
it was. We talked about it here last time, and yeah, being up there. Imagine if I'd missed that shot.
Oh,
well, we'd be dead.
Yeah, I wouldn't have to imagine anything.
I don't know. Yeah,
wouldn't be able to.
Yeah,
wouldn't have this book.
A lot of people asked me, or a lot of people wondered how I would react if I didn't win this championship. I guess we'll never know. Shout out to Jason Tatum and Kanye West.
Yes.
So I don't know if you saw the finalized video of that.
I did.
The voiceover at the end is, that was actually his first shot. That way, we just wanted to make sure people knew this dude had a bent, like a state fair rifle that you're trying to do, and hits a guy right in the head in that entire thing. But, okay, so let's get a little deeper into this. Yeah. I have a friend who was a Marine sniper, and the sniper is a little bit different than other positions in the military because you actually have to see and watch.
Yeah.
Like, follow through.
Yeah.
Like, you get to see it almost all happen.
Yeah.
And with the way, like, PTSD is and everything that happens, snipers, I assume, suffer from that in a massive way. And how about the overall military as a whole? Because I know it was, 22 suicides a day from military vets? And
somewhere around there.
Have we gotten any better with that? Do you know? Do you keep track of all that? And how do you feel about the state of veterans in the United States of America?
Yeah, it's tough. And I wove it into the last show, Terminal List, near the end. It talks about some of those things. Weave it into the books. There's just so many people out there struggling with it. But for me, I can always talk about my own experience, but I wanted to make sure that I wasn't leaving anything on the field. So when I was home, even when I wasn't training, I was still training. I was reading about warfare, insurgencies, counterinsurgencies, about Iraq, about Afghanistan. I was training on my own time, both physically and going to the range on my own, seeking out people that were better shots than I was with rifle, pistol, shotgun to make myself the best leader and the best operator I could possibly be, because I didn't want to. This is also the power of popular culture, because all those movies growing up had the PTSD element, a lot of them did, and I didn't want to be sitting on my couch years from now thinking, oh, if I had only gone to that one more training session, if I'd only read that one more book on terrorism or about Iraq or Afghanistan, I could have made a better choice downrange, a better decision under fire. So there's family in the team, and my wife knew that pendulum was going to be on the side of the team while we were in, because that's what you owe the guys that you're taking downrange, their families, the country, by default, the mission. So that was the focus, and I didn't want to leave anything on the field. So I felt good about that going downrange. I felt I was always the best leader and the best operator I could possibly have been. Continued to read, continued to study downrange. I'm a student of warfare my entire life, continue to be a student of warfare today. So I think that knowing that helps a lot on the backside.
Know what you're signing up for, know what you're getting into, know that you did everything with a purpose and a reason, and there isn't a lot of regret or anything like that taking place out there.
And the enemy gets a vote. And even if you do everything, quote unquote, right, enemy gets a vote and things can still go south. So that's where it's tough to deal with it.
Man, jeez. What a Jack Carr, you are a weapon.
Yeah, unbelievable.
You are an absolute weapon. Go ahead, Carr, man.
So, like, to what you kind of just said, when you think about the stuff that you're writing or you just wrote and finished now, like, on the scale of fear, where does AI rank? Like, in your research, is AI one of those things where...
Is that what we're all shitting our pants for?
Yeah, like, as a soldier, too, especially. Like, is that something that you are, like, actually concerned with the people who are in the military now and going forward, and how AI will affect warfare just in general over the next 100 years?
Oh, yeah, and how rapidly technology has evolved over the last 10 years. Imagine the next 10 and the 10 after that.
Yeah.
So, but mostly I think about the next generation. Like, my generation has done their time, essentially. All our generals have already lost all the wars, unfortunately. So we need this next generation to be smarter, to learn from those lessons and apply those lessons going forward as wisdom. We don't do that very well as a country country as a whole. When you have a gigantic bureaucracy that just rewards people for maintaining the status quo, then there are issues, and we saw that play out in Afghanistan. And
brother, that's every business, isn't it? That's kind of scary, isn't it?
I think so.
Like, it can't be happening in the military. Like, you know, like that's kind of the big conversation, I guess, in the entire thing is like, can't have bureaucracy getting in the way of us having our best military because there's real life results and real life things that happen on the other side. This isn't like somebody missing a bonus check or hitting some money mark. It's like an entire platoon of people dying. Like it is such an interesting world, that military as a whole. I assume they're very appreciative of you becoming the person you're becoming with the voice that you're becoming. What you just spoke right there sounded like a president.
Oh yeah,
You sound like a president of the United States. Are you ever going to get into public service?
Politics sounds like the absolute worst.
Of all time.
The worst thing you could possibly do, especially now when you don't even know what to trust. We have AI and deep fakes and all these things, and you're being manipulated by something you're carrying around in your pocket every day, not just by a magazine you're going to open in the 80s or 90s or a TV show you're going to turn on. It's with you 24/7, and it's not just feeding you the next laundry detergent they want you to buy. It's manipulating thoughts and behavior. So I really think about that in terms of the next generation that's growing up with these things.
It sounds great. It sounds absolutely
good times.
fantastic.
Good times.
It sounds like a blast. It sounds like a really good time. I was at the USA Olympic trials last night. Watching these swimmers do their thing. And, you know, it is nice. And the Olympics are a great time to show. And I think the Euros are experiencing this right now, like country pride. You know, like there's a lot of country pride in the Olympics. There's like a lot of country pride and like cheering for it. We got dogs that are taking the pool. And there's a generation, I think a lot of us, and by us, I mean 37-year-olds that don't really keep up with enough buckets. I just assumed that we were going to be a soft generation. I think that's coming back around. I think there's like dogs now. I think we're starting to get like, is that how it is in the military as well? Or do you think that as well or no?
I don't know. I'm a little removed from it right now, but I'll tell you, I just got back from Normandy, France for the 80th anniversary commemoration events of D-Day. And we took 48 veterans over there, World War II veterans, and with the Best Defense Foundation, flew them in with Delta right into Normandy, took them to 2 weeks of events back there, and I have never seen so many American flags anywhere, even in 4th of July in the United States, than there are in Normandy, France during the month of June. American flags everywhere, 82nd Airborne flags everywhere, 101st Airborne flags everywhere, people dressed up in period costumes, old World War II Jeeps, World War II Harleys and Indian motorcycles, and they had this look on their face from the oldest person to the youngest. They are so grateful for what America did for them. And they want to get these guys autographs. We make baseball cards of them with their stats, what they did in World War II, and their photo on there. And all these kids, all these people want them to sign these things, and we're handing them out autographs in these parades. And you feel there's such a pride. And that's because, well, France was occupied, and then it was liberated. And we haven't had that here. So we are getting we're a little
I think people forget about a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
I think people forget about, you know, America has done good.
Yeah.
There has been good that has been done in the past. I think it gets forgotten with all the bullshit that takes place and all the negative decisions and bad ideas that take place. Is the military at a state where they're happy with America?
That's a good question. I don't know. I think
You
a
don't
lot of
wanna
guys
speak
got
for
out.
everybody, you said you
Yeah,
wanna
I can't speak for everybody, but I know a lot of good guys were getting out during the COVID years, and a lot of people were aware of just what this bureaucracy, the ineptitude of this bureaucracy, because they could watch what happened in August of 2021, and that was 20 years of planning, and that was the best that our senior level military leaders could do. That was their best. So if you're looking at that, you're going to have to want to go in for other reasons. Probably test yourself. That's a very natural thing, especially for young men to want to do. They want to join the Marine Corps boot camp typically, but SEAL training is BUDS, and Army Special Forces Q course, Army Ranger course, those things that are crucibles. And you used to have to do that. You used to have to do that to prove value to the tribe, to the community before they'd let you into it. And I think that's still there in our DNA. So we'll still get some good people in there.
Hell yeah, America.
Yeah. Come on, let's do it.
I'll tell you what, our swimmers.
Nice.
They can swim.
Get them.
They're the size of a barn, Jack.
Nice.
Massive.
Yeah.
These men and women. There was a 46-year-old woman swimming last night in qualifiers. 46 years old, somehow still getting a speed that was quick enough to qualify for the U.S. Olympic trials. But then there was, like, Ryan Murphy is this dude. He's a swimmer. His back is the size of a barn. He is an absolute beast. And he, you know, like 4 a.m., these swimmers are waking up and going, it's like dogs. Like, we got dogs all over. And they are excited to represent the United States. It's like a cool, it was a really cool thing last night. I like the amount of USA chants that were taking place. It was like, it was a beautiful thing. And now that's a 17-year-old right there, Jack. Ooh. That dude's 17.
Stacked.
That's an American 17-year-old swimmer out of Virginia. He's going to go to the Olympics, beat everybody on planet Earth, and then he's going to go to a senior year of high school, like a couple weeks later or whatever.
And then buds.
There it is.
And then probably
but.
Well, that's the age of the guys that stormed the beaches at Normandy, jumped out of those planes, landed those gliders in Normandy, June 6, 1944. We think we get a misconception of how old those guys were because we see Tom Hanks in Saving Private Ryan, who maybe was like, let's say 45 when he did that film, or John Wayne in The Longest Day back in the day, older. But really, they're guys lying about their age to get into that. So you had 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds, 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds, 20-year-olds storming those beaches, having those landing craft doors open, running across that open terrain, right into hail of machine gun fire from elevated positions, and then they worked their way all the way through France, all the way to Berlin, and liberated essentially Europe.
As a military strategist and expert and warfare expert and everything like that, that's the worst case imaginable.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah, they have the high ground.
They have the high ground.
And all the power, and you're in water.
Yeah.
Coming in the bottom. We figured it out. Grace Generation.
That's right. That's right, baby.
We're ending the program here on ESPN on this, sports are sweet, but icons are cool Thursday. Kenny Chesney in the first hour, Jack Carr in the second one. We'll be back tomorrow with a Feel Good Friday. We can't thank you enough for joining us. Be a friend, tell a friend something nice. It might change their life. And buy Red Sky Morning. Cheers. All right, we just wrapped up on ESPN. We're still live on ESPN Plus, YouTube, and TikTok. So people are still watching.
Nice.
TikTok, huh? How do you feel about TikTok?
I haven't dove in quite yet. To
why don't you buy it, Jack? Why don't you sell some more books?
Think about it.
And buy it up.
Working on it.
Hey, I'm looking at the font size. Not intimidating.
Okay.
Hey, look at that. There's actually a large print edition.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is that for the olds or for the people that are scared?
It's let's say it could be for both. Usually it'd be for the older people, but for anybody.
Yeah,
anybody has a hard time.
Yeah.
Or if you want that sense of accomplishment, you read 50 pages in that. It's really like 20 pages in the regular version, but it's like, God damn, I took a good chunk out of this tonight.
Burn it.
561 pages here, I'm seeing.
That was a long one. Longest one yet. 150,000 words. So
Best one yet, too.
It's true.
150,000 words?
150,000 words. Usually these books come in at about 105, 110, maybe 115,000 words. This one, the story dictates. So I'm not going to ever wrap it up because I get to my word count that I'm contractually obligated to. I'm always going to be about the story because people are trusting me with their time. They're never getting that time back. So that's something that I think about.
So I used to say that in like high school whenever they told me how many words it was, but I finished up 50 words less. I say it's all in there. It's supposed to be 800 words.
Sorry.
That's 750 words, but it's all there. If I was to do more, it would just be filler. It would ruin the entire thing.
I hear you.
Yeah, it didn't work. I mean, I had to go put the and and.
Still a good argument.
Couple more. Yeah, I thought I had it right.
Yeah.
I thought I had it figured out. Not a lot of plum English teachers were big fans of mine.
Well, that's why it's interesting on Instagram in particular because you have that 2,200 characters, so you have to tell a story. If you're telling a story about a photograph, like I do history posts about different terrorist events that happened.
Awesome.
My first.
You have a sweet Instagram.
Yeah, it's incredible.
I'm learning through you're like a history class.
Oh, I appreciate
Twitter
that.
too.
Appreciate that. Thank you. Now that Twitter has more characters, I can do those same kind of posts on Twitter or X. And my first nonfiction comes out in the fall in the 1983 Beirut barracks bombing. So that's Marines
Where
Last
do
More
you have
Guys.
the time? 150,000 words?
I'm exhausted. I really am. But that's why I fuel up on that whiskey. That gets me through. You got to fuel the machine.
We should get hey, can we get some plastic cups out here?
I got some cups for everybody. I got some glasses for everybody.
Wow.
Yeah,
is that Dave?
That's Dave right there. Yeah,
Dave, my man, can you bring those cups up here?
1, 2, 3, 4 more.
Yeah, hell yeah, Dave.
Do you worry about that with like a different type of book, like you said, nonfiction story? Like, do you worry that after, even though you put all that work into it, that people will be like, sure, but can you write another fucking Terminalist book? Like, is that ever a thought?
Those are going to come out at the same time every year, but my idea was to do a nonfiction every year also. Yeah. And then when I jumped into it, I realized it's going to take 2 years at least to do the right kind of research and honor those stories. So this one, the Marines lost more guys in a single day than they'd lost in Iwo Jima in World War II in October of 1983. Damn. So 241 Marines, 58 French paratroopers. And that story really hadn't been told yet. There's all these declassified documents from the Reagan administration that recently were declassified that kind of show what was going on in the executive branch at that time, so you can really piece together the story. So that's out in September.
Research notwithstanding, do you think it's easier writing a nonfiction than it is a fiction because you don't have to create the entire story? Obviously, you want to do everyone who was involved justice, but is it easier writing something nonfiction than it is fiction?
I didn't find it to be easier, and that's because I think I was worried. Like, if I make a mistake in here on something, thank you so much.
Hey, no problem.
If I make a mistake in this one, I can just say, oh, it's fiction.
Yeah.
But if you can't make a mistake like that in the nonfiction, especially when you're writing a book that you want to stand the test of time, and you have people who are still so attached to that event and so affected by it the families of those who lost loved ones, and people who are digging their buddies out of the rubble back then, still alive. So I'm interviewing them. I spoke at the 40th anniversary commemoration events last year. So it's tough to get that. You want to make sure you get that stuff right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the factual. We that's where I struggle at. Because like I'll do WWE.
Yeah.
It's like, this is the greatest of all time right here, and then we'll go do College Game Day. And it's like, this is the greatest of all time. No, actually, it's fucking not. Okay. It's like, okay.
I'm sorry.
I was just, I was just talking about like in general, but that's the difference between creating your own characters and then actual real life ones. It's like, yeah, this is the toughest guy I've ever seen, fastest Bud's times in history. And it's like, no, actually, that was with this fucking guy. You got to make sure you get it right. Pay tribute to it. But anytime you're sharing stories or I think a positive message about the United States military, I assume everybody is very, very grateful. I assume everybody's very grateful. And for that, let's go ahead and have a little shot of whiskey.
It's pretty powerful, this stuff.
That's fine.
Well, okay, I know you guys are pros.
125 proof.
Holy hell shit. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
The fuck is wrong with you, Jack?
That's what I'm talking about.
And this is how you're writing these books?
I know. Well, I wanted to come out strong.
Yeah.
With the first one.
99% corn, 1% barley.
Love it.
It's healthy.
A couple barley sandwiches for the boys.
I read that. I've read that somewhere.
Rain makes corn, and corn makes whiskey.
And whiskey makes journalists.
And whiskey makes Jack write beautiful books.
There it
Yeah, and
is.
authors.
Boom.
Yeah,
There
whiskey
it is.
creates authors.
Yeah.
This is a quality glass.
It
by the
is.
way.
Thank
So-
you. Yeah. Those are for you guys.
Well,
so.
the Winkler
Bam.
actually. I mean, you can't leave those off.
There you go. Yep. These are solid right there.
Do you the farther you get away from being
Go pop.
Bring a pop.
Paramount.
Yeah,
in
be
the
careful.
military?
Be careful. The first time I did it was on a live podcast, and I did it when I was like,
A little fire.
Friday night.
Got a little fire.
had to
in
be
the
strong.
soul.
Well, it had to be. I should have prepped earlier. I should have prepped before.
the farther you get away from your military experience, you talked about using that emotion and that experience to writing in your books. Do you find it harder the farther you get out to dial into that?
Not really. Not on the feelings and emotions part.
Yeah.
It's more like, what are the guys using now? Like, what pistol have they transitioned to now? What what rifle are they using now? What optics on there?
Sure.
That sort of a thing. What sling? So I just try to make sure, hey, CIA paramilitary guys, what are they using in this book? How do you jump out of a essentially civilian aircraft without leaving a signature of showing jumpers leaving, or without deviating from a civilian flight plan?
Same.
When you hear about those weapons, like the weapons that they're using today, is that something you think about?
Jack.
Uh-oh.
Fuck this up.
What happened?
Have you heard them? As I'm coming over to pour this,
I did not hear.
Ty just said, I have to pick up my daughter. It's like, you son of a bitch.
Easy.
It's a big cup. It doesn't have to be too much.
No, yeah.
Yeah, so we've
Probably
heard.
better if it's not.
I got a ton.
Can you set us a list of what the guys are currently using today so we can
Get that stuff?
stockpile
Yeah, are you
it?
jealous
so
of that shit? Like, are you like, son of a bitch, I want to shoot that fucking sniper so bad with all the new shit that they have on it?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's technology as far as that stuff goes really hasn't evolved that much,
Nothing
unless
like
you're
the tried
talking
and
about
true.
night vision and thermals in particular.
Yeah.
So those two things have gotten a little more technologically advanced, but everything else is still pressing that trigger, bang, bullets leaving the barrel, and essentially what it was doing 30, 40 years ago.
Yeah.
Tough glasses to pour out of. Just try to pour something back in there.
I'm glad I got a
I was
fucking
going to say we shouldn't have felt obligated. But
No,
I
that's
really
just one
appreciate
shot, boys. You guys just drinking one shot.
One shot?
I'm
gonna be nuked.
AJ, where's yours at? AJ, where's yours?
I don't know. I got a cigar, I guess. I'll do that.
Oh, okay.
You
Son of a
wuss.
bitch.
You don't support the troops, asshole, do you?
It's just laying around up here, fellas.
Motherfucker.
Hi, this is Hooten Young, Jack Carr, Warrior Proof American Whiskey.
There it is.
It's warrior proof.
16-year reserve.
Gotta do it.
125 proof.
And so, just a little more context. So, Hoot and Young, remember when Black Hawk Down, there was the character Hoot, played by Eric Bana.
Oh, yeah.
So
Great character.
That's Norm Hooten. So that's him right there. So that's Delta Force. That's Norm Hooten, and the guy played by that Eric Bana played in Black Hawk
He
Down.
was a badass.
He was.
Absolutely.
We all were.
Yeah.
Bottled straight from the barrel, this American
Bang.
whiskey is worthy of an occasion, savored for its notes of clove and baked apple. Got apple and corn in here?
That's what I smell.
I mean,
That's
it's
what I
healthy.
smell. That's what I smell.
That's what it is?
Is there a hint of apple?
Hold on.
AJ, wait till you hear this. Bottled by Hoot and Young, Silverton, Ohio. This is Ohio
It must
whiskey.
be good.
And you're not
Must be
drinking it,
good.
you disrespectful son of a bitch.
Yeah, I guess so. You're right.
Why don't you just hang your Chinese flag behind you?
That's what it feels like, doesn't it?
The red wave addict.
Yeah, it is.
I should have sent you a bottle ahead of time. Oh man,
this is your fault. This is your
My
fault.
kids like the case. No, I got the case. My kids
got
are
it.
so juiced. The book showed up. Yeah, thank you
Awesome.
very
Absolutely.
much. Yeah, we love that case.
Pull out that Mao Zedong biography book behind you.
Yeah, right up there. We see it. That's,
History of the Forbidden City.
ladies and gentlemen, here's a man that served the United States of America honorably, obviously, and then decided to make the world a better place by giving them informational entertainment in the form of book, series, and I can't wait to see what movies you write at some point. You're one of the greatest Americans to ever exist, Jack Carr. Thank you for the 125 proof here in the middle of the afternoon on Thursday. Cheers to Red Sky Morning, the 7th in the Terminal List series, available now. Cheers to you, Jack Carr.
Oh, hey,
cheers. Cheers, boys.
Cheers, Jack.
Boys. Hey, AJ, cheers to you. Oh, shit.
Cheers.
Shit, Jack, will you run mine over? Will you run mine over?
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you. Cheers,
them all in.
Thank you, Jack.
Get them all in,
Jack.
Mark.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you, Jack. I appreciate it. You're a good man, Jack.
Well, we're touching.
Good teammate. Cheers, boys.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers, boys. To Jack Carr.
Jack Carr.
Got a little heat.
Good. How'd it go?
A little hot fire.
Fucking
That's a little hot fire.
I think it's
Delicious.
a sipping. It's a sipping whiskey.
Yeah, I think so. You put ice in there, man.
Oh, it's sipping? I thought they were doing the whole thing.
It goes good with Diet Dew. That much.
Certainly does.
Yeah, it's definitely a sipping whiskey.
I'll put some fucking hair on your chest, Jack.
That gets it downrange for sure.
Yeah, hey, listen. That
Pretty
tastes-
smooth, though,
that
for
did
how...
taste
That
delightful.
was good.
Yeah, not bad.
Actually,
Not bad. It
yeah.
came out pretty
That
good.
did absolutely taste pretty delightful there.
Jack, did you guys study what Carlos Hathcock? Is he the sniper that everyone makes him out to be? Like he seems like he was the dude, especially back in the day.
Yeah, there was a book called Marine Sniper by Charles Henderson that I read back in, I think, junior high. And so that was the guy you looked up to because there wasn't that much written about Marine Corps snipers or special operations snipers or snipers in general back then. And then my junior high school days when I still had my eyes focused on joining the military, and being a SEAL in particular. So yeah, that guy was up there. And Chuck Mawani, I'm going to pronounce his name wrong. He had actually more confirmed kills that came out later, but he never talked about it. He just passed away a little bit ago, but he lived up in Oregon. And I think he joined the Forest Service when he got back. But apparently he was an amazing guy, and I wish I could have met him.
Well, yeah, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people that say that about you as they get into this profession because of something that you did and following your steps and all that. How many are we going to make? Do you have an end in this? 7 books in the Terminal List series. Is there an end to this thing, or?
Well, people are going to have to find out after they read this book.
Oh, wait, let me go to page 561.
Oh, shit.
I don't want to give anything away.
Yeah. Actually, if you read that, it probably wouldn't give it away. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Yeah.
Okay,
561. He knows the exact page.
Yeah. I mean, the end epilogue. So I think we got some acknowledgments back there. We got some glossary back there. Some gems in there as well. There's not just an actual glossary. There's some fun stuff in there.
Is there a works cited page in there?
I was just trying to think about that.
We got a shout out to a bunch of people in here.
Yeah. So I try to thank.
Did you win the Olympics rifle competition?
No. Did I win it?
Could you?
No, could you?
Oh, could you? I think that's pretty specialized. Now I'm more
You're
familiar
specialized.
with the biathlon. I love watching biathlons. There's so many different courses and distances and all that stuff, and watching them just get in there and just try to steady that rifle and press that trigger. And I mean, things can change so fast with the guy in the lead, and all of a sudden just loses it because it's such a mental game. And he's way in the lead, all of a sudden miss. That guy that was way back there, he's coming in, he's got a shot now. All of a sudden.
We're talking about the
he's
skiing?
in there. Yep, skiing, the cross country
And he got to do
stuff.
the laps?
And exactly.
You would do that?
I would love to do that. If I had grown up in an area where that was something that one could do, I would have loved that. And I'm going to probably put a character that has that background into one of my future movies.
Because the stamina, those legs are going to be gigantic.
Those guys are crazy.
You know, they say like basketball shooters will always have the shot. Like they might not be able to move, might not be able to read it, but they'll always have the shot. Like, do you think you'll always be able to? Yeah.
It's a pretty solid foundation. So I feel pretty confident.
I mean, Tone just brought up a great point.
I mean, actually, we did it last time. I think that was my test. So I'd been out for a little while last time we did that, and we took that shot to save the world. So I hadn't been training up for it.
So you're saying like you don't go to the backyard and just like let's see if we still got him.
Yeah.
Let's put a Zinn case, 500 or a little Zinn tin, 500 yards away, and then just put a hole in the Y in the middle of that thing.
Well, CBS came out and they did a little video thing 2 years ago and came out and I got the bow out. So I have a course where I have 22 different targets, 3D targets set up all around. So I have elk and moose and mountain lion and bear all around the property. You can do a course like golf, but it's with a bow. And so I was taking the guy who came out, Jeff Glore, took him out and was just teaching him how to shoot, showing him, could do that background type stuff. And they put a GoPro on the target. And so I shot the target a couple times and he said, hey, can you shoot that GoPro? And thank goodness I didn't think about it too long. I was just like,
boom. Yeah, you're damn right. You're damn right. I can hit that if you need it. No worries.
I'm glad I didn't think about it too much.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, went right. Oh my goodness, what's going on over there?
What the
fuck is that?
It's like what's security like around here?